Hello, everybody. Howdy, howdy. Morning. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. I know it's, you know, Monday morning, but hopefully it's not a terrible Monday. Yes, the kitty is fine. She was just getting a teeth cleaning and they just removed a thing from her ear. She's fine. Fenton, we actually have data on how many people are flat earthers, and it's about 10% of the Earth, or 10% of America are flat earthers, which is way higher than you'd think. I can show you. I can show you the source. It's like, look, it absolutely is, 10% is absolutely crazy. Here's the source for that claim, if you're curious. So this is a 2021 survey. Vaccinations, Earth is flat, not round. NASA did not land on the moon. Earth is billions of years old. So 10% of Americans think that the Earth is flat, not round. And 9% are not sure. In fact, there are more flat earthers than there are vaccine microchip theorists. Like, it's a rough world out there, y'all. It is indeed a rough world out there. Something, something, American education system, something, something. Oh, I don't need that. Put that there. No one really knows? Oh, we absolutely do know. There's no mystery here. It's just the world we live in right now. 3% in the UK according to YouGov polls. Yeah, that seems more, that's better. Explain the parallax paradox? I have parallax paradox. I've never heard of this. Oh no, my keyboard. My A key just fell off. It's really disappointing. And the worst part is that 2 of the prongs broke off in the key, in the switch. Oh, the parallax. Okay, so apparently the parallax paradox is just that closer things appear to move more. Yeah, so I'm that kind of neuroatypical or neurodivergent where I had one of these keyboards and I really liked it. It's a Logitech G910, and then it broke. So I got another one, another Logitech G900, and I just kind of kept getting them. I think this is my second or third one, but it's a good keyboard. Brought it all the way to Europe with me and back. G910, I'm sorry. All right, let's bring up our first guest. I think we've spoken with Muscle before. I don't know why it didn't bring him up. Musul, how's it going?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing okay. Musul, we've spoken before, right?
Yeah, but it was about religion with Dr. Blitz. Not Dr. Blitz, the other, your friend, with
Didn't
M and another guy.
Didn't we talk about... Well, I thought that we talked about flat Earth, but that's fine. So, do you think that the Earth is flat?
No, I think... yeah, I do think the Earth is flat, yes.
Why?
I actually... Because... Actually, my son... not my son, my... Yeah, my son, he's... oh man, sorry, my English. My cousin, he's a pilot. And he actually went up 25,000 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Which is higher than usual, and he made a picture.
That's lower than usual.
No. I mean, it wasn't 25 feet. Sorry, my English is... I mean, 25,000 meters.
I don't think that I did. 25,000 meters would be higher
I'm
than
not sure if
the
it was
U ones.
meters or what, but I have a picture of it. He actually took a picture of the... you could see the Earth, and I will show you a picture, okay? Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, sure. Oh, let's put him up. And then I'll show him a picture from 75,000 feet. And then we'll compare. Sorry, 72,395 feet. Yes.
Actually, I lost the picture, but...
You lost the picture? Well, here, that's okay. Let me show you a picture from around the same height.
No, but the thing is, obviously...
Here's a picture. So this is a picture taken in 1935. This is the first picture taken from the troposphere. It was from a hot air balloon. And so if we zoom in, and it's been written on, by the way, but if we zoom in, you can see that that on the left, there's a little bit of there's only a little gap between the edge of the horizon and this black line. But as we move out towards the middle, that gap gets bigger. Then we move out towards the edge again, it gets smaller. Looks an awful lot like curvature to me.
The picture I have of my cousin is actually the same as this. It's not strictly right, but even. But this doesn't necessarily show that the Earth...
Well, that's curvature.
Well, when we say the Earth is flat, we obviously don't mean like perfectly flat, right? There could, but it's not round. You know what I mean?
Well, so this is what you would expect to see if it was round.
No, right? Because it depends. Where is this picture? Like, where was it flying above? And which?
This was
how much
flying,
distance does it take?
So this was 72,390 feet up in the air. This was taken. Where was it? I think it says it in here. We actually have some locations. This was taken above South Dakota.
South Dakota, right? So
yeah.
Would you say that this is proof that the Earth is round?
Well, it's a photograph showing curvature from very high altitude. Now, maybe it doesn't count as proof, but it's definitely as good a picture as you're going to get from like high altitude. There are other videos and pictures from other sources, but this is like a photograph taken on film, so it's pretty compelling in my view.
Right. So, actually, have you? I actually know some pilots who actually
I'm sure you
told
do.
me the Earth is flat.
Okay, I know some pilots who told me the Earth is round.
Can you go from Russia like, you know, when you're in Russia and you fly towards the right side, do you end up
You mean
on the left side of the Earth?
You mean to the east? The Earth doesn't have a left and a right.
The east, yeah.
The Earth doesn't have a left and a right.
I said east.
Which part of the Earth is the east?
Look, if you go from Russia to wait, before we ask, do you think the moon landing is real?
Yeah, of course.
Wow, you're lost, bro. You really think the moon landing is real, bro?
Yeah, there's like overwhelming evidence that it's real.
I mean, brother, it's proven to, it's literally proven.
Okay, what's the proof that the moon landing didn't happen?
Brother, if you look at the people who participated in the moon landing,
Yeah. What's the proof that the moon landing didn't happen?
If you ask them, they get nervous out of their mind and they walk away. Every person who has been.
That's funny because there's video of an astronaut who swore on the Bible that they landed on the moon.
Oh my God, he swore. So
doesn't seem like he got nervous, did he?
You as an atheist believe when someone swears on the Bible?
Well, no, I was giving you an example of a guy who wasn't nervous.
Yeah, so brother, the moon landing is obviously fake. This was a tactic to scare Russia and China.
What's the proof?
The proof is literally that we can't go back again, or they haven't went back again.
Literally, we've sent plenty of probes to the moon. In fact, I think that there's an American probe on the moon right now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the original moon landing you're talking about. It didn't happen. And
yeah, what's the proof?
The proof is literally that they were supposed to put a flag. They put a flag there, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a flag on the moon.
No, that's your opinion. But the flag isn't there.
How do you know?
Because this is because the video that was taken, it's not even possible to take a video of the moon when you're there.
Do you just say things without thinking about them first? Like, why wouldn't it be possible to take a video on the moon?
Bro, you would literally get torn apart if you're near the moon. Do you know that?
Why would you get torn apart?
Because of the gravity.
The gravity on the moon is weaker. Why would it tear you apart?
How do you know it's weaker?
Because it's smaller.
What's smaller?
The moon. Yeah. You want me to show you something?
Bro, if you believe in a moon landing, like how can you even, I can't get further, you know? Like, how do you believe in a moon landing, bro?
I mean, like, we have really, really compelling evidence that it's real. Do you have any sort of evidence that it's not? Because it just seems like your entire argument is incredulity, which isn't as much an argument as it is just a sign that you haven't critically thought about anything.
So, actually, the guy that went to the moon, right?
You mean the 12 people who walked on the moon?
12 people, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the Epstein files, literally. If you look at the Epstein files, you see that they're talking.
What does that have to do with the moon landing?
No, they mentioned that it's fake.
In the Epstein files, they mentioned that it's fake.
Yeah.
Why should I care? The Epstein files were put together, or the Epstein files are a collection of emails and communications by pedophiles. Why should I believe them?
Bro, why would Epstein lie? Like,
why would Epstein lie? Are you asking me why a pedophile would lie?
Or do you believe in 9/11?
You've got to be trolling me at this point, right?
I'm not trolling. I'm asking you. Do you believe in 9/11?
You've got to be trolling. So the topic today is the shape of the Earth. So why don't you give me some evidence that the Earth is flat?
All right. Before we go there, I have to look at what you believe, so I know how like.
No, not before we go there. We're talking about the shape of the Earth. I think the Earth is a sphere. You think that it's flat. What's the evidence?
Yeah.
What's the evidence? What's the evidence that the Earth is flat?
With me personally, Scripture.
Okay. You understand that Scripture is not particularly compelling evidence for most of the world, right? Scripture says a lot of things that we just know are not true.
So Scripture isn't, but someone swearing on the Bible is?
Someone swearing on the Bible is evidence that they weren't nervous. That they didn't nervously run away.
If I show you someone that's involved that was nervous, then what do we do then?
then you have an example of somebody who was nervous. You made the claim that every single person who was questioned about it nervously ran away. I gave you an example of somebody who didn't.
The guy that swore on the Bible, even he was nervous swearing.
How do you know?
But
you didn't even know that this happened. How do you know that he was nervous?
Yes, I do know, because when you look at his face, he was literally like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to do this," and he did it.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the name of the astronaut who did it?
I saw the video. I'm not sure of his name. Why?
Oh, okay. When did it happen?
It happened when it was in a court somewhere.
It wasn't in court.
Where was it?
It was just a guy on an interview.
Where was he?
One guy was in his home. His name was Alan Bean. In fact, we have 3 people who swore on the Bible with regards to their moon landing. Alan Bean, Eugene Cernan, and Edgar Mitchell. 3 astronauts.
All right, so these people, where were they interviewed? I'm asking you.
One of them was in his home.
So it was a voluntary interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the guy who got interviewed walking out of a court?
I don't think that you're referring to anybody walking out of a court. What you're referring to is when Buzz Aldrin was approached on the street while he was just with his family, and somebody walked up to him with a camera without his permission and started telling him that the moon landing was fake, and then demanding that he swear on the Bible that it happened. Like obviously this is like an aggressive action. So why would anybody want to comply with the person who's demanding that they do something?
So he could have just swore on the Bible as a way to avoid him and go upon his way with his family.
Yeah, he could have, but why would he engage with somebody who was obviously acting in bad faith?
Why would you engage? Well, that's a question also. But brother, you know when the planes they flew in the towers, and the way the towers
Oh my god, this has got to be a troll. This has got to be a troll. Give me evidence that the Earth is flat, scumbag.
I'm asking when the
Give
plane
me evidence
went
that the Earth is flat.
All right, so you don't.
I've already
accept
shown you a
scripture.
picture of the curvature of the Earth.
Right? No, that's not real curvature. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not real curvature. It looks like a curve to me.
But you cannot say for a fact it's round with that picture, right?
Okay,
So
how about
you
a
have
video?
no
How about a
evidence.
video of the Earth from the Galileo probe in the 1990 or in the year 1990?
Well,
Here,
I know. Well, there's a lot of fake pictures and fake
this
videos.
is video.
If you believe this,
1990.
you're an absolute moron. If you actually
Yeah, do you have
believe
evidence that it's fake?
Yeah, because
Okay, what's
at
the
that
evidence?
time, do you actually believe this? What you see right there, bro?
What's the evidence that it's fake?
What's your evidence is real?
We can go look at the original photographs and video from Galileo. They are publicly available.
All right, so
The burden of proof is not on me. I presented you video. Now you have to show me that they're fake if you're making that claim.
So everyone, look at the chat. Everyone is saying it's fake, right? So
I don't think that anyone's saying it's fake, actually.
well, maybe you should read.
I'm reading all 3 chats.
Everyone says Photoshop and whatever.
Everyone says Photoshop? Do you mean the one
Not
guy?
everyone, but a lot of people say it's fake.
It's real, not fake. No, it's real. Looks real to me. The nuh-uh argument, globe is real. Ahaha, no argument equals evidence. He struggles to simultaneously argue and remember to breathe. Real, the Earth is round. Do a poll. I don't know, man. Looks like people are not with you here.
So, right.
Here, do you want more? Do you want to? How about a rocket? How about a rocket launch that from ground all the way up to 300,000 feet in the air? How about a rocket launch video, like a video with a rectilinear lens, so there's no barrel distortion? Video all the way from ground straight up into the air, no cuts.
But it's only up till 3,000, you said?
300,000.
300,000 feet.
Yep.
Okay.
Here. Hold on, let me just get to the part where we actually see the launch. That's the launch from the ground perspective. Here we go. So this is from the side of the rocket. Launching. I'm going to put it in 2x, just how it then, because it's kind of a long video.
It even looks fake. Wow.
Which part is fake?
Well, I don't see any curvature here.
We're not at 300,000 feet yet. Look, I can scrub forward and we can go a little bit further. I think here we go. Slow it down.
Why is the camera turning around?
Because it's spinning.
So the rocket is spinning?
Yeah. What's that?
That's a Photoshop video.
It's a Photoshop video? This is video. This is video footage.
So if I show you, wait, if I show you, so look at that. Look at how it showed the, oh my, look how fake that is, man.
Which part's fake?
Bro.
Which part's fake?
Look at the way you just saw the thing on the rocket, bro.
Which part's fake?
Can you go back 10 seconds back?
Yeah, which part's fake?
No,
that was 10 seconds back.
One more 10 seconds.
Here, I'll play it in extra slow-mo. You're going to have to, and I hope that you'll be honest enough to be able to tell me which part's fake. We'll play it roughly frame by frame. There's the deployment of the...
Yeah, look at that, man.
Which part's fake?
What the hell was that, bro?
So because you don't know what it is, so that's the...
wait,
do you know what that... So just because you don't know what it is, that means it's fake, right?
So the rocket, so why does the camera point up and why don't I see the rocket? So did the rocket go sideways?
The rocket is, or the camera is stuck to the side of the rocket. How are you going to see the rocket?
Right. So now the camera is pointing up. So the rocket is going sideways?
The rocket is twisting and spinning.
Is it going sideways, I'm asking?
The rocket goes straight up and then it turns around at apogee and then it comes back down.
So is it turning around right now?
Yes. What do you think is happening?
Bro, it's literally the fakest shit I've ever seen with all those.
Oh, okay, so your only argument is that it looks fake, even though there's obviously curvature. By the way, this was done by a private individual. This has nothing to do with any government organization. The video was recorded entirely from the ground all the way up to 300,000 feet. There's nothing that you can say that makes anyone think that this is fake.
Let me tell you something, okay? Because since you believe in this, you believe in this as evidence, right?
I'm sure. Hold on one sec. We just gotta...
The way the Twin Towers fell down,
we gotta do this. I'm sorry.
Because of a plane?
I'm sorry, hold on.
The way 9/11 fell down.
You killed. How long will it take? Can you double check? We're behind on time, so I'm just gonna take your safety off. Your safety off. But they changed the time.
This is you. This is you as I'm showing you evidence.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right.
This is you.
Let me tell you something. Wait.
As I show you evidence, this is you.
I mean, the joke took too long, to be honest.
No. Wait.
It took too long. If you had it, already pulled up, it would be fine.
Double check. Safety. Double check.
That's you. That's you in the presence of evidence, my guy.
Wait, Blitz. Are you threatening me to throw me off a mountain?
No, that's you falling down the cliffs of despair as you realize that your worldview crumbles.
Dude, you just threatened me with death. Are you serious?
Do you think that guy's gonna die? You know that he was on a bungee cable, right?
I'm joking. So, anyway, bro, listen. Let me ask you something, and then you can do whatever. But it's just to see how gullible you are, brother. So,
all right. Let me tell you something. Wait.
Brother, can you stop, please? So,
sorry, I have to troll the troll.
The way the Twin Towers collapsed, do you believe it was because of a plane?
I'm not going to let you deflect. I'm sorry. You seem like you're intellectually dishonest enough that you don't want to actually talk about the thing that you believe.
No, because if you believe everything that has been given to you with video
I don't believe scripture. Why would I believe scripture?
So, do you believe every video you see about the Earth? Yes or no?
I believe so. In the absence of any reason to think that the video is fake, yeah, generally the view that you should take is that a video is real until given evidence that it's fake. That's the that's the view. That is good epistemology.
You're a smart science man. You know how you know about gravity. You know about these things.
What do you think about gravity? Do you think that gravity is real?
The way the towers fell, was that destruction?
Hold on. Do you think that gravity is real? Do you think that gravity is real?
Yes.
How do you think that the Earth is flat and also gravity is real?
Why aren't you answering me?
Because this live stream is not about the Twin Towers. I'm sorry, my guy. I'm not going to let you pivot. But if you think gravity is real, how is the Earth flat?
It's just a yes or no question about
it's irrelevant. If you think gravity is real, how is the Earth flat?
Well, let me tell you why the Earth is flat, okay? Because
can you answer my question, please? If gravity is real, how is the Earth flat?
if gravity is real, how is the Earth flat?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. So,
yeah, what's the answer?
Well, I don't believe in gravity, but I just said yes to
I'm sorry. What did you say? You don't believe in gravity? Just check in. If you think gravity is real, how is the Earth flat? I'm sorry, my guy.
Why aren't you answering me?
Because this live stream is not about the Twin Towers. I'm sorry, my guy. I'm not going to let you pivot. But if you think gravity is real, how is the Earth flat?
It's just a yes or no question.
Because this video, how do you think that the Earth is flat and also that
Or was
gravity
it a
is real?
plane?
Think that gravity is real?
The way the towers fell, was that destruction?
Hold on. Do you think that
or was
gravity
it a
is
plane?
real? Do you think that gravity is real?
Yes.
How do you think so you do think gravity is real, but you also don't think gravity is real?
So is gravity like, is it capable to
Do
be
you
real
think that
or was
gravity
it a
is
plane?
real? Do you think that gravity is real?
Yes.
How do you? One more time.
All right, Blitz, if you allow me to speak, I would appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Sure, go ahead. As long as it's about the topic.
Right. So if I tell you something, you have to listen and then you can make fun of me, okay?
Yeah, sure. That sounds fair.
Is a flat Earth, is it able to have gravity? Yes or no?
No.
Why not?
Because gravity pulls big things into sphere shapes. And the Earth is, if the Earth is flat, it's big and flat, so gravity would pull it into a spherical shape.
So with that being said, well, that didn't make any sense, did it, Blitz?
I'm sure you didn't think that it does make sense, but that is what gravity does. Gravity tends to pull things into spherical shapes if they're big enough.
Right, so then let's just skip about this. Did the towers collapse because of the planes, since you're a big gravity guy?
Wait. Let me tell you something. All right.
We're not talking about the Twin Towers. I'm
Why
sorry,
not?
my guy.
All right, it's
Because
yes
it's
or
not
no.
on topic. Because it's not on topic.
We'll go right back on topic just with a yes or no. Yes or no?
No, we won't. The live stream is not a 9/11 live stream. Let's read some super chats and we'll move on to our next guest. From Boogie the Cat with the $2, I'm looking for a Hugh Jazz. See what you did there. Sorry, let me do something. Okay, that's all. No, I'm sorry, I missed one. I missed a few actually. Where is it? From Noxy Proxy Rudy Boo with the $5. Hush, little flatty, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a P900. They're actually coming out with P1100 now. This year, I think. And from Aaron Leitz with the $5. Good to see you, Aaron. Blitz, you can't actually believe germs cause disease. It has to be demons. No, it's bad smells. Get it right, Aaron. It's bad smells. Don't you ever, and you will never convince me otherwise. Why won't this stretch? Come on. What is happening? Why won't my... There we go. Okay, that's as good as it'll get. All right, should we talk with Science with Freddy for a brief moment? Let's talk to Science with Freddy. It's always good fun. Freddy, how's it going? You still a flatty?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, have you seen the Mesos rocket launch?
Oh, no, I came to ask you for your hypothesis for gravity. Do you have one yet?
For my hypothesis, gravity is a phenomenon. Gravity is an observation. We have a theory of gravity. Which part? Which thing do you want? Which thing do you want?
It's a calculation for an observation.
So one hypothesis that you might have is that gravity is caused by the curvature of space-time. If gravity is indeed caused by the curvature of space-time, then if you were to launch a satellite, say, into a polar orbit around the Earth with a... Sorry, I'm in the middle. If you were to launch a satellite into a polar orbit around the Earth, and in that satellite there was an extremely precise gyroscope, then you would expect that that gyroscope would undergo two types of gyroscopic precession. If the Earth, if gravity was indeed caused by the curvature of space-time. Did you understand what I just said?
You just can't give me that fucking hypothesis for gravity, nor
I gave you the hypothesis for gravity. I gave you the hypothesis for gravity. Ready?
Yeah, you don't. No human can see, test, or manipulate fourth dimension. I'd like to tell you that.
So, Freddy, unfortunately for you, given a hypothesis, you can then go run an experiment. You can then go run an experiment and see if the experiment's observations agree with the prediction.
Give me an answer instead of.
I already answered your question, Freddy, but you decided to interrupt me rather than listening.
There was no if-then statement for a hypothesis for
I did.
I'm sorry.
I did. You just weren't paying attention, Freddy. I'll say it again.
Yeah, I was paying attention. You said
then repeat it back to me, Freddy. Freddy, repeat it back to me.
Yeah, I'd like to know how we manipulate.
Freddy, repeat back my if-then statement. What did I say?
You went to satellites and
Freddy,
then you went to gyroscopes.
Freddy.
I heard all about what the fuck you were.
Freddy, what was the if-then statement?
And you still
what was the if-then statement, Freddy?
Hypothesis. You didn't give
Freddy,
me one.
I did. You just didn't listen. So I'm going to mute you so that I can tell you. Freddy, I'm going to mute you so that I can tell you what the if-then statement is, and then you can, think with your ears rather than thinking with your mouth. You have two ears for a reason. So the hypothesis is, if gravity is the result of the curvature of space-time, then a satellite containing a gyroscope in a polar orbit will experience two different kinds of gyroscopic precession. So we can go and test that. You can unmute yourself now.
I've gone over this with you in thermodynamics. You're not going to escape a closed system.
Yeah, so did you hear the if-then hypothesis?
Yes, no, it's yes, Freddy. It's yes, Freddy.
Freddy, so did you hear the if-then hypothesis in the form that you preferred?
Tell all your little cronies out there that I fucking beat you.
So, Freddy, did you hear the hypothesis?
No, it's yes, Freddy, and I heard your hypothesis.
Okay, so I gave you a hypothesis.
Space-time. Yeah, the curvature of space-time, which you can't show.
Yeah, we can. I just told you about the hypothesis.
Pseudoscience.
I just told you the hypothesis that you can check.
That's all you have. Yeah, I'm putting you in check because you have nothing.
Freddy, did you hear the hypothesis that I gave you?
Yeah, you told me.
Okay, can you repeat it back to me?
Space-time. Can you? Yeah, you said it's the curvature of space-time, which still you cannot prove.
Oh, you only got the first four words?
No human.
You only got the first four words? That's embarrassing.
Well, it's enough to know that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
So you didn't hear the rest of the hypothesis?
Yeah,
I know you
don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh no, should I mute you again and tell you what the hypothesis is?
Statement about fucking clowns at the circus. It doesn't mean
okay, so we'll do it again. So if gravity is the curvature of space-time,
why do you keep muting me?
So then you can listen with your ears rather than talking with your mouth.
What is space-time? How do you manipulate it?
It's a four-dimensional Lorentzian manifold up to diffeomorphism invariance. Next question.
How do you manipulate fourth dimension?
You seem confused.
Yeah, I'm confused on how you manipulate something you can't manipulate.
You absolutely can manipulate it. In fact, we've done this with Cavendish-type experiments. Yeah, we've done it with Cavendish-type experiments.
You're not manipulating with Cavendish.
Sure you are. You're manipulating the shape of space-time. Sure you are.
No, you're not. You're manipulating
absolutely
mass.
Are.
Yeah, you're manipulating.
No, you're not manipulating mass. You're manipulating where where mass is, and where mass is will affect the curvature of space-time in the local area.
You're talking about density.
No, I'm not talking about density.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Sure you are.
Freddy, so do you want to engage with the hypothesis that I gave you and the test that we can run to check whether or not gravity is indeed the curvature of space-time? Do you want to engage with that?
Yeah, you don't see the curvature of space-time.
Do you want to engage with the hypothesis that I offered you?
You don't see the curvature of space-time. You're
Freddy, do you want to engage with the hypothesis that I offered you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the hypothesis is if gravity is the result of the curvature of space-time, then a satellite in polar orbit containing a gyroscope will experience two different kinds of gyroscopic precession.
Polar orbit?
Polar orbit. You don't know what polar orbit is? It's when the orbit goes over the poles.
Because
when polar
it
orbit.
goes over the poles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it in space?
Yeah,
Is it outside? Is it outside our atmosphere?
it's in polar orbit. So it depends on where you draw the cutoff line for the atmosphere. Depends on where you draw the cutoff line for the atmosphere.
Well,
We can go look up. We can go look up Gravity Probe B, and I can tell you.
Is it a vacuum?
So
or
Gravity
is it in our
Probe B.
atmosphere?
Gravity Probe
is
B
it
was
in
at
our
an
atmosphere
altitude
then, like a
of.
balloon? So
I'm
it's not a
checking for you.
balloon then.
I'm
It's a
checking for you.
satellite.
So
Yeah, it's
Gravity
in our
Probe B.
atmosphere.
Gravity
Because
Probe B
the
was
moon
300
even in
and
our atmosphere, as your NASA claims.
Gravity Probe B was 366 miles up. So is that in our atmosphere? You tell me.
Yeah, it's on a balloon.
It's on a balloon. Really?
Yeah, you know,
do you have proof of that?
Like Googleloon.
Do you have proof of that?
Googleloon?
Do you have proof? Do you have proof that Gravity Probe B was on a balloon?
Googleloon.
Googleloon is not Gravity Probe B.
Oh, so Googleloon wasn't on a balloon either.
I didn't say anything about Googleloon. It's just not the same thing as Gravity Probe B.
Oh, no? Oh, so I can't show you something similar.
No, I'm asking what proof that Gravity Probe B was on a balloon.
So then Googleloon is on a balloon then. Got it.
I don't know or care what Googleloon is.
Okay,
We're talking about Gravity Probe B.
Was up for almost a whole year given internet.
Yeah, so we're talking about Gravity Probe B, Freddy.
How does that happen with a balloon that can blow anywhere?
Freddy, we're talking about Gravity Probe B.
How does that happen? They must have something down for these balloons and satellites, don't they?
Freddy.
Wow, that's amazing how they can get it to stay in one spot for almost a year.
Your mother gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Well, I'm asking you a question and you give me space time. That's bullshit, dude. And you know it.
I know that you feel that it's bullshit, but we can do science.
Well, it is bullshit.
I know it hurts your fifis.
You claim it to be true.
You can absolutely test it. You can absolutely manipulate it.
That's testable, repeatable, and manipulatable. You lose.
What's that thing that Sun Tzu said?
Sun Tzu? Who the hell are you talking about? One of your demonic gods.
Let me see if I can find the quote. It's probably not Sun Tzu. It's probably like Napoleon or something, but you know.
You mean minus? You mean minus?
No, I mean this. Go ahead, Freddy.
Min-Su, yeah. Min-Su is who brought me here. Minus. He's got his name switched around. Oh, that guy. The guy that's made up of a bunch of clones in a museum.
You think that Sun Tzu was the Terracotta Army?
No.
Oh my god, a bunch of clones in a museum?
Yep. Yeah. You think dinosaur bones aren't fucking... You think dinosaur bones are real in the museums, or are they fucking made up? Are they copies of the real bones, supposedly? Which one, buddy? So those aren't fucking copies then either, huh? Oh, that must be a joke.
Bro doesn't know the difference between Sun Tzu and the Terracotta Army.
The lead was supposed to protect them.
Is this Sun Tzu?
Then why are the copies painted with lead?
Is this Sun Tzu, Freddy?
That's your family.
What? Oh, Freddy.
I'm over here clowning on you, and you're thinking I'm being for real. That's great. Show me space time. Show me the curvature of space time.
I'm laughing so hard.
Show me the picture of space
what do you think?
time
What do you think?
Everybody.
Suppose that space time were indeed real, and it was indeed possible to curve. What would a picture look like?
Like you showed the army show pictures of space time. Let me see.
Yeah.
this.
So what do you think space time would look like if it were real?
So? No, it's yes, Freddy. You are right. There are no pictures of space time that I can show you.
Freddy, can you show me pictures of air?
Pictures of air? Yeah, blow some smoke in it and you'll see it.
Oh, but that's smoke, not air.
Yeah, but you're seeing the smoke travel through the air.
Well, so you're not seeing the air. It sounds like what you're telling me.
See how it's fluid-like.
Oh, the smoke? Yeah, I want pictures of air.
Yeah, within the air.
Ooh, there's no pictures of air.
The air, isn't it? It's resting in the air, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, you know, that's only what that's only what big air wants you to believe.
I guess you're not going to show us any pictures.
So you can't show me pictures of the air. I guess air just isn't real since you can't show me pictures of air.
Again on space time. Thank you. Yeah, so you can't beat me. You can just smirk. Tell all your little cronies how I just beat you again.
Freddy, I'm laughing at you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm laughing at you. Yeah, I can hear how much you're laughing.
I'm
You're
rubber,
smiling.
you're glue. Everything you say to me bounces off of me and back to you.
Wow, that's very intelligent. My kids say that too.
Yeah, I know. I was making fun of you, Freddy.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad you can make fun of me when I'm so correct and you're wrong.
Yeah, that's definitely right.
Exactly.
You got me there.
Still no picture,
I'm glad you can
still
make
no
fun of me
picture
because
the
I'm so
curvature.
correct and you're wrong.
Oh, so still no picture of the curvature of space-time then.
Wait a
nor
minute, Freddy, did you say
hypothesis
that you have
works for
kids?
Gravity. Wait a
Did you
minute.
say, Freddy, did you say that you have
Yeah,
kids?
Well, yeah, they're my students. I'd call them my kids.
What? Hold
They're
on.
in my class.
I'm sorry, what class do you teach? Gym?
Yeah, let's go with that.
No way. There's no way that anybody would ever pay you to teach students anything.
Well, that's your thoughts, and we already see you don't even have any fucking science. So, if it goes along with your fucking
Oh my God.
science, then we know you don't have shit.
There's no way.
Isn't that
There's
funny?
no way. There's no way that anybody pays you to teach it. This is like the most embarrassing Joker laugh crash out I've ever heard.
Embarrassing part is telling me about the curvature of space-time, and you can't even show me a picture of it. Yet you claim to see it. To test
Oh, I never claimed that you can see the curvature of
matter
space-time.
escapes a closed system in thermodynamics. What a fool. Yeah, show me how matter escapes a closed system again. This is going to be great. I can't wait to see how you
All right.
fail.
I think we got the clip for YouTube. Take care, Freddy.
Okay, goodbye.
What a wild day. What a wild day we've had so far. Oh my God. That was too real. Too real. From Eric S with the $5. This caller might be onto something, to be honest. I know I do my best thinking when I'm drunk on a Monday morning. No, that's just how Freddy always is. I don't think that Freddy's always drunk. I think that's just how he is. And from Cherry Bomb Games with the $10. Thanks so much, Cherry Bomb. He teaches the mannequins in his apartment, maybe. Yeah, he did say my kids, and then he changed to my students. So, yeah, for what it's worth, Freddy isn't trolling. Freddy is serious. That's how he always is. From Westside Girl Reacts with the $2. Thank you so much. And I apologize for bad-mouthing you PE teachers. I'm sorry. But look, like, Freddy might be very kinesthetically gifted, but there's no way that he is intellectually gifted enough to actually teach children, like anything academic. So, like, you know, totally reasonable that he could absolutely be a PE teacher. Maybe he's like really gifted with, like, you know, maybe he has really good coordination, maybe he's really in touch with his body, whatever it might be, but definitely not a teacher in a academic field. By the way, I should tell you guys, since we didn't actually get the chance to talk about it. Gravity Probe B was an experiment that was launched in 2004. Here's a paper if you want to read about it. Essentially what they did is they put a satellite in orbit, a polar orbit around the Earth, so it goes like this. And inside the satellite were, I think they actually launched 2 of them. Inside the satellite was an extremely precise gyroscope. And one of the predictions of relativity is that the gyroscope will eventually end up precessing. It will deviate from being straight at whatever it was originally pointing at as a result of the curvature of space-time. And they actually measured it to a pretty high degree of precision, and it was perfectly in line with the predictions of general relativity, which was Einstein's theory of gravity. So that's just an interesting fact that you guys should learn more about, because it's really cool. Anyway, let's bring up this person who has a Japanese. Is that, I don't know what characters those are.
Yeah.
What should I call you?
Battlelogical.
Oh, Battlelogical? You're 14.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to be here. Oh, it does say Battlelogical. I see. Let's talk to NK. Oops, wrong thing. All right, this person's not connecting. Let's bring up Home, the sovereign ruler and leader. Home, how's it going?
Hey Blitz, how's it going? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Home,
Good.
what shape do you think the Earth is?
Can I offer a bit of a rhetorical position?
I just need your honest answer. What shape do you think the Earth is?
Oh, I'm gonna undo myself. I do that. Can I? Oh, it's spherical. It's spherical. Goodbye, Blitz.
Goodbye. I appreciate the honesty. All right, let's talk to Blake. Blake, how's it going? Blake? Blakey boo. Blakey boo. Okay, that's really loud. Talk to Spinny Yarn. Oh, okay, let's talk to Jamie. By the way, y'all, remember to like the live, and if you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe. The subscription rate has been not going up as fast as I would like it to, so if you're watching on YouTube, whether it's on vertical or horizontal, subscribe. Jamie, how's it going?
It's going good, it's going good.
Glad to hear it, Jamie. Jamie, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I don't know, I just know it's not a sphere.
Okay, why do you think so?
Because we'd have no way to test it.
That's an interesting thought. How do you figure?
Because, especially under the model you take gravity to exist. So you think there's a bending, a space-time, and mass bending space-time. And I think it's impossible to see space-time, especially under
Why do you need to see something in order to
Wait, hold on.
verify a model that predicts its existence?
Wait, hold on. Not only can't you not see space-time, you can't observe space-time.
Well, look, how do you observe air?
There's air molecules.
Yeah, how do you observe them?
How do you observe I don't know the exact methodology on how. I know you can, though.
Really? If you don't know the exact method, then I don't know how you would. Now, what you can do is you can observe, like, liquid oxygen, you can observe liquid nitrogen and these things, but, like, you can see that with your eyes, but I don't know how you're going to observe air, like, in any context.
It's possible for air to be perceived.
How?
By what? How?
Yeah, how?
You can, by air, I'm just referring me to the collection of air molecules.
Yep. How do you
Yeah,
perceive it?
Yeah. You could have a really advanced microscope to see it. You could also, to see it to see it with your eyes, I think the only way is through like a microscope.
Yeah, so turns out visible light microscopes can't see air molecules.
I said a really advanced one.
Well, but then you can't see it, right? Because then you're using like an electron microscope to see individual
Is it
atoms.
logically possible to build one that can see it?
To build a microscope that you can see with? No.
No.
Well, okay, logically possible, I
What?
suppose. It's not physically possible though.
Okay, so anything that is perceivable, it's logic. Like, for example, let's say something is so small, you can't perceive it. When I mean anything perceivable, I mean anything that there's no like anything that you can see using any tools logically, or anything at all that can be perceived using external sources.
The question about logical possibility isn't really relevant here. The relevant thing is physical possibility.
Yeah,
and it's physically impossible to see air molecules.
It's not even physically impossible.
It is. It is, because the wavelengths of light that we use to see things are larger than the air molecules themselves, and so those wavelengths of light just pass right over. They don't interact with they don't scatter off of the air molecules in like
perfect. So you're saying
reliable way.
So what do I see when I see mist?
You're seeing water droplets, macroscopic water droplets.
Oh, water droplets. Okay, it's water droplets and what though?
Yeah, it's water droplets.
And
What do you mean in
air.
what? What do you mean in what?
And
Oh, but you
I
can't
said
see the
and
air.
what? I said and what?
No, you're not seeing the air. You're seeing the water droplets.
Wait, so you're telling, so what moves water droplets then?
Oh, that's a good question. What moves the gyroscope when it orbits the Earth in a polar orbit?
Magnetivity.
Magnetivity.
Yeah, magnetism.
Yeah, so why would magnetism cause the gyroscope to precess?
Why? Well, actually, well, it depends what view you take. But under my view,
Yeah, under
I
your view,
think-
what causes the gyroscope to precess?
well, I don't think it does totally. So
Oh, I mean, like, it's documented. It's like well documented that this is a thing that happened. This was a huge
Are you
success in the early 2000s.
Are you talking about like the standard gyroscope?
No, I'm talking about the gyroscopes in the Gravity Probe B experiment.
Oh, Probe B.
Yeah, Gravity Probe B.
I did it. I haven't. I know the basis of it, but I haven't looked into the paper.
Tell me about the basis.
About the Probe B experiment.
Yeah, the Gravity Probe B experiment.
Basically, so basically what they did is they built something and they put it into space, and they calculated the measurements for relativity to see if this object would like kind of match it. And what happened was that they got a kind of similar answer, I guess. But
So they
that's
calculated the measurements. What does that mean? What does it mean to calculate measurements?
That's all I know about the experiment. But what I mean when I mean calculated the measurements, so they measured the object they were gonna put into space. I think it was like what, a satellite.
Go on.
And they used Einstein's equations for general relativity.
Go on.
And they tried from the distance that the satellite went up. It was a satellite, right?
Yep.
From the distance it went up, they calculated the distance it would go at, the distance it would end up to see.
No, that's not what they did.
No, what they did was they left it there, okay, to see if it would shift. And
See
under
if
their
what would shift?
When I mean shift, like would it just stay stagnant or would it move?
No.
That's what I mean.
They weren't talking about the motion of the satellite.
I could be wrong about the experiment because I told you I don't really know. But I thought I knew the basis of the experiment. Is the basis not the experiment? Is that they calculated where the satellite would be under general relativity? No.
No.
Okay,
no. The satellite was the location of the satellite at any given moment in time is equally well explained by Newtonian gravity as it is by general relativity. What they were testing is a gyroscope inside the satellite, an ultra precise gyroscope inside the satellite. That gyroscope was initially pointed at a fixed star, and it was let to orbit. And as it orbited, it accumulated drift. Instead of pointing at that star, it accumulated drift in exactly the way that was expected for the two different gyroscopic precessions that you would calculate, that you would predict from Einstein's general relativity. It wasn't off. It wasn't roughly similar. It was exactly within error.
Okay, well, that's I didn't know about the gyroscope part. I only know about the satellite part. But I don't know much. But whatever. All right. That doesn't prove that. Well, actually, let's get back to the other point. What we noticed is that space-time is impossible to see nomologically and logically.
So is air.
Air isn't logically impossible to see.
Oh, how is space-time logically impossible to see? Where's the logical contradiction?
Yeah, because time isn't something to be physical, but you say space is intertwined with time.
Yeah, so how is it where's the logical contradiction?
Yeah, if space. Wait, hold on. I'm saying a contradiction within seeing it.
Yeah, what's the logical contradiction?
Yeah, it's gonna be that you can perceive something not physical and physical, at the same time.
So you think that it's impossible to perceive something that's non-physical? You think that's logically impossible? What's the logical impossibility?
Yeah, it's just gonna be analytically true.
It's not.
Wait,
doesn't-
to
it doesn't
perceive-
follow.
Wait, to perceive something, right? Is just to experience something using your senses. Okay.
Not necessarily. You could, there are internal
That's how I'm
perceptions.
defining wait, hold on. That's how I'm defining perceived. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like you're telling me that it's impossible to perceive God.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no way that God could ever make himself
No, you can.
perceptible to you?
You don't perceive God. You conceive God. What are you talking about? God has made it. God has put the conception inside everybody. What are you talking about?
Well, it just sounds like that's not what it says in the Bible.
Where does in the Bible does it say that
Jacob
God...
sees the face of God.
Oh, oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you actually what is that in
Genesis
King?
32:30.
Oh, I'm tripping. You said Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So that's simply if you actually go into if you actually pull up
That's
the
disgusting.
original.
Yeah, here's the text.
Yeah, if you actually that this verse is simply talking about that Jacob saw the glory of God.
Oh, it
right?
doesn't
But
say that. It says, I saw God face to face.
yeah, bro. Obviously, this is anthropomorphic language. This is expressive poeticism.
Oh, okay, so the Bible's wrong. Got it.
How is the Bible wrong to express in poems?
So why would Jacob call the place Peniel?
Peniel?
Yeah, so Peniel means or has to do with the word face in Hebrew.
What place?
The place where Jacob was.
In the mountain. He was in the mountains.
We can go look at the exact verse, but the verse explicitly says, so Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, it is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared. Peniel is the location of the place where he saw God's face.
Okay. You're to look, this is what you're doing. You're saying, hey, I'm reading this verse, and my interpretation of this is correct, and your interpretation is wrong. Okay, Blitz.
Well, it says it quite literally that he saw God face to face.
Okay, that's what you're saying, that your interpretation is correct. Okay, what methodology have you used to verify your interpretation?
Oh, you're that guy. I'm just reading the words.
Oh,
so I know. So the word saw. So when you see something. So when you see something, is that a kind of perception?
Yeah.
Okay, so when Jacob saw God, did he perceive God?
No.
Oh, so when you see something, it is perception. But when Jacob saw God, he didn't perceive God.
Words, bro. The same words.
Cool. Affirming a contradiction.
Don't mean the same words we use right now.
Oh, okay. Do you want to go look at the Hebrew?
Bro, I'm saying you could pull up the Hebrew, pull it up, but I could tell you the methodology of interpretation I've used to dismiss others, but you can't, and you want to say that your interpretation is correct.
So we're just going to look.
Give you the
we can just look at the.
We can falsify your interpretation.
We can just go look at the text in Hebrew, right?
Looking at the text in Hebrew doesn't give you the interpretation to use.
No, but it will tell us what the words mean.
Okay, but so, you can use what the words mean, but how does that give you an interpretation?
Here's the Hebrew.
To read the text?
So here's the Hebrew. The relevant phrase is this word here.
Slow? No, nobody would use Hebrew to English. What you would use is the Septuagint to English. Oh my gosh.
So you don't think that the Hebrew is a correct rendering of the text here?
I'm saying no, but no. Everyone knows. Every scholar knows that when you use Hebrew, you use it to Hebrew, Greek, and then English. Not
I'm just looking at the Hebrew word ra'iti. You know what ra'iti means?
If you know anything about Hebrew,
do you know what the word ra'iti means?
No.
Okay, it means I saw.
Okay.
The next word is Elohim.
What does that have to do with any? How does that attack anything I have said?
Yeah. So ki means because. Ra'iti means I saw. Elohim is a name of God. So this phrase, ki ra'iti Elohim, means because I saw God. That's just what the words mean.
How does that dismiss anything I have said? In fact,
nothing that you said has addressed this. This is the original text.
What I said.
The claim that what you said was that you have to go from Hebrew to Greek to English. which is kind of a
No,
complete red
that's not.
herring.
I'm saying no. That the part before that, my main point.
I have no idea what your main point is. You seem all over the place.
Yeah, my main point was that you are claiming your interpretation is correct. You're saying you're reading
I'm
it.
just reading what the words say.
Okay, but you're saying that this is what it means, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, words do mean things, right?
Yes.
Okay, so ki is a Hebrew word. It means things. It means because. Ra'iti is a Hebrew word. It means I saw. And Elohim is the name of God, right? This phrase means because I saw God.
Okay, and you're taking that to mean, okay, that Jacob directly saw God. Okay.
Well, the word says I saw.
Oh my gosh, wait, can I finish the point? Okay, and I'm saying, no, that's not what it means.
Oh,
right?
so
And,
the word I saw doesn't mean that he saw.
Bro. Well, I could say Dr. Blitz is angry, right? It means something totally different if I'm defining angry a different way.
You could if words didn't mean words.
Somebody could take that same statement and say Dr. Blitz is sad, right? If they define angry as the way they're defining sad.
You're right.
You're saying
if by Ra'iti you don't mean
listen.
I saw, it doesn't mean I saw, instead means something else, then you'd be right.
Bro,
but Ra'iti is a word and it means things. It means something specific.
You're scared. So who do we establish what interpretation is correct?
This is just a word.
Methodology.
This is just a word. Words mean things, right?
Wait, so are you saying there's not going to be a methodology involved, right? Is that what you're saying? You're not going to use one? I want a yes or no.
Words are symbolic objects that are used to convey meaning, right?
I want a yes or no. Are you saying you're not going to use a methodology?
Words are symbolic objects that convey meaning, right?
Yes, I want a yes or no. Why are you ducking the question? I answered every question you've been asking.
Okay, so just to be clear, did you answer the question what Ra'iti means?
I answered the question I've been asking. I've asked one question. You've been asking all these questions.
Sure.
Answer the question I'm asking. Are you going to provide a methodology or hermeneutic? I want a yes or no.
No, I'm not using a hermeneutic. I'm just translating the word directly.
I didn't ask if you're using one. I asked if you're going to provide one. Yes or no?
No, I'm just translating the word directly.
Okay. So you're saying, hey, I'm not going to provide a method of hermeneutic which I use to interpret this verse and come to the conclusion.
I'm just reading the word directly.
And come to the conclusion that this verse means this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just reading the word directly.
You're saying I'm not going to do that. So in fact, I don't even care what methodology you use to falsify my interpretation. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, even though I'm wrong. That's exactly
so just
what
to be clear, we're just going off of what the word means. Words have meaning, right?
Yes, words have meaning.
And for example, the word Ra'iti, does that word have a meaning?
Yes.
Okay, what does it mean?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I can tell you. It comes from the stem Ro'eh, or Ra'ah, I guess would be the stem, Resh Aleph Hey. This is a Hebrew stem. It's the verbal stem for the word see or the word saw. And when you put it in past tense and you associate it with yourself, you modify the stem. So you have Resh Aleph Yud Taf Yud. That's how you get the word phrase I saw. So this is standard Hebrew grammar. And that's how verbs are conjugated. And so this is fairly easy to understand what is meant here. In fact, I imagine that we could probably go search up this word in other parts of the Bible, and I imagine that we would find that it's used in the same way.
Okay, Blitz. What you're not understanding is any scholar, right? What you're not there's two things you're not understanding.
Yep.
You can get multiple statements that mean the same thing and derive different interpretations of it.
Yeah, so what's the interpretation here?
Hold on, bro. I let you speak that entire time. Be quiet. And what you're doing is you're saying, based off this, I have concluded this. It isn't a known methodology.
I don't care. Words mean words.
Any hermeneutic. Wait, hold on. So okay, so why can't I say the same thing? Words mean words.
Yeah, this word is a word that has meaning, right? It means I saw.
Yeah. I'm defining. Yeah, saw is different.
saw is different? What does saw mean? If I
Yeah,
mean, you
wait, how
agreed
do you,
earlier.
how do you know? Wait, hold on.
To be clear, you
How do you
agreed
know
earlier.
Wait, hold on. How do you know
you
your
did agree
description?
earlier that to
Listen.
see is to perceive. It's one kind of
Listen, how do you
perception.
know your description? How do you know your description of interpretation is correct? I want you to
How do I
answer.
know my Sorry, one more time.
How do you know? Oh, now you want to answer questions. Okay, thank you. How do you know your description of the interpretation is correct?
How do I know my description of the interpretation? As in, how do I know? I don't even know what that question means. Are you saying, how do I know that that word means?
So you don't even know what interpretation of description is? This is a well
you
known
said, hold on. Just to be clear, you said description of interpretation first. Now you're saying interpretation of description. It seems like you don't know what it means because you got it in the wrong order.
I could tell you what it means.
By the way, the word ra'iti appears how many times? Like dozens.
My gosh, Blitz,
it appears 88 times in the Hebrew Bible. Did you know that?
I'm dog walking you, Blitz.
Did you know that the word ra'iti appears 88 times in the Hebrew Bible?
Yeah,
and every single time
facts.
it refers to seeing things with your eyeballs.
Okay. That doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, so here's a hermeneutic for you. I'm using the definition as implied elsewhere in the Bible to interpret, I don't care, to interpret what the word means.
That's not a hermeneutic.
A hermeneutic, I believe, is a method of interpreting a text, correct?
Yes.
So I just gave you a method of interpreting the text.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's literally a method or theory of interpretation. That is the definition of a hermeneutic.
Wait, so you just come up with your own theories?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, okay, perfect. I could come up with my own theory and say the contrary.
Okay, yeah. So why is it that mine is more consistent with the understanding throughout the rest of the text and yours isn't?
No.
Oh, it is because you can go check all of the 80 plus times that it appears in the Bible, and it always has the same meaning, and you can check its meaning based off of the surrounding text.
Wait, hold on. You're saying
furthermore, it's translated
the
same way in every single translation.
Let me speak because you know I baked you. It's okay.
I'm sure you baked me.
It's okay.
Is this PhD free, by the way?
No, this is the guy that baked you on Flat Earth.
This is PhD free. Goodbye, Jamie. What's funny is that I blocked him on his main account, so I guess he had to come up on an alt account because he's desperate for my attention. That wasn't free? If it wasn't free, then that's my bad. It sounded like him. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. From Gretchen with the $5, pretty sure Christians would let Freddie teach Sunday school. That's got to be what he meant, LOL. Yeah, probably. Maybe that is what he meant. From Brenda with the $5, if we see air with an air microscope, then we can see gravity with a gravity scope, a gravimeter. Yeah, there you go. From Mr. Kiki with the $2, magnets? How the F do those work? Well, I could tell you, but he certainly couldn't. And Eat Some Shorts sent 10 Dr. Blitz Debunks gift memberships, which means that 10 people now have access to 10 more people now have access to my debate notes, which is huge. This is like a huge thing because those debate notes and those memberships are one of the ways that you can like consistently support the channel for only like $4 or $5 a month, which is really appreciated. Also, now those 10 people get access on YouTube to the emojis that we have, which are good for content and good for a big laugh in the YouTube chat. From Glitterlock with the 50 Qatari Rials, thank you so much, Glitterlock. If I say that I means Blitz and Saw means shitted and God means his pants, then the verse clearly means Blitz shitted his pants. Get wrecked. True. I've been had. I've been destroyed. In fact, that is what the verse means. All right, let's bring up Flat Earth now.
Yo, what's up, Blitz?
Flat Earth now, how's it going?
Good, man.
I'm glad to hear it. Flat Earth now, I take it from your name that you think that the Earth is a sphere.
No, it's flat.
Oh, okay, sorry, I just misinterpreted. I mean, like, you heard the last guy. You know, sometimes words don't mean words. So, Flat Earth now, why do you think the Earth is a sphere?
I think the Earth is flat because I can see it with my eyes that it's flat.
Okay, so because you can see something a certain way, that means that it is that way?
No, it just means because I see the Earth that way. Like I can look out in the distance and I don't see any curve.
Yeah, so what if I showed you pictures and videos that do show curve?
Oh, you need to bring it.
Yeah, okay, I
The
can show
Earth
you.
is like bumpy and shit. So like.
Sure, yeah, I'll show you. Here's a photo from 1935, which is certainly interesting. The first photograph ever made showing the division between the troposphere and the stratosphere.
That looks flat, dude.
Really, it does?
Yeah. It
So
looks
here
flat.
we have one edge where you have a small gap between this horizontal line, by the way, that's like drawn in.
That's
And
like
then as we go to the middle, that gap gets bigger. And as we go further to the side, the gap gets smaller. Looks awfully curved to me.
looks flat, dude. You just see a flat surface. Like obviously, it's not gonna be like a perfect like line.
So why does it curve up in the middle?
Cause of like mountains, dude.
You think that these are mountains? Where's the mountains?
Yeah, it looks like it. You can see little bumps.
Those are the
The Earth
mountains.
isn't, like, smooth,
Oh,
bro.
okay.
It's flat.
I see.
It's
I
just the
see.
mountains.
All right, take care. I'm pretty sure he was trolling. From Eric S with the $2, that guy destroys more trees than Agent Orange. What? And from Optopoppet with the $5, new maxim: the first person to claim victory in a debate has lost the debate. True. Very true. All right, let us make sure that I don't have any missing guests in the do I have a... Oh, sorry. I was just looking at something else. All right, let's bring up Esteban. Esteban the Longhorn. Esteban, how's it going? Oh, he's not here. Esteban? Esteban? Drink some water. All right, Esteban's not shown up. Let's talk to No. No, how's it going?
Very good. How's it going, Dr. Blitz?
I'm doing it A-okay, No. All right, so No, what shape do you think the Earth is?
100% flat.
All right, why so? Why do you think so?
Well, I mean, I could give you like a 200 IQ answer or basic common sense answer. We'll start with common sense. Water doesn't curve around a ball.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big claim, but I don't know why I would believe that. What's the 200 IQ answer?
So my question for you would be, you know, what gravitational law or what law of thermo or hydrodynamics would ever state that water has the ability to curve around a sphere?
Newton's universal law of gravitation?
Where does it say that in Newton's law of gravitation?
Yeah, you can calculate the force on a parcel of water.
It does describe the force.
And that force would keep the water on the ball.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that it's not going to curve all the way around the sphere.
Sure it would. If you have a sphere, then the force will be normal to it. It'll be normal to the sphere in the radial direction. And so you will have the force pulling it inwards in all directions, so it'll curve around the sphere.
Okay, and then did that same law of gravitation that you're referring to from Newton, did that also include the fact that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour?
Sure, you can include that as well. That would be
No,
that
I'm
would
saying
involve that would involve Newton's that would involve Newton's second law of motion. You would need to things as you add more and more details, then you have to include more and more laws of motion. But so if you combine Newton's second law of motion and Newton's universal law of gravitation, you will come to the conclusion that water can stick to a spherical ball if the ball is sufficiently massive, even if the ball is spinning. And in fact, not only will it predict that the water will stick to the ball, it will predict that the water will stick to a ball in a way that is consistent with being slightly further away from the center along the equator, because that's the direction that it's spinning in, or that's the axis about which it spins.
So basically, you're kind of like ad-libbing like the actual laws that Newton came up with.
I don't know what ad-libbing is. You're kind of
combining them.
That's what you do. That's what you do when you do physics.
Right, but he never combined those laws. Newton himself never combine those laws together.
That's irrelevant. And actually, I don't even know if that's true, by the way.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, like, because I just want to know, like, kind of where your stance is. Like, if you were presented with an argument that was demonstrable and sufficient, would you do you have an open mind? Like, would you be
Absolutely.
able to flip your belief?
The trouble is that there's such overwhelming evidence that the Earth is a sphere. The argument would have to be overwhelmingly powerful.
Yeah. So
what's the 200 IQ? What's the 200 IQ explanation? I'd love to hear this.
Oh, sure. So I mean, have you ever looked into the muon paradox?
The muon paradox.
Yeah.
It's probably the kind of thing that I know about, but I've never heard it called that. So go ahead and explain.
Yeah, sure. So the muon paradox is basically a paradox. So there's these particles called muons.
I'm familiar. What's the paradox?
Yes, so the paradox is why we find so many of them on the surface of the Earth. It's basically scientific proof that the sun isn't 95 million miles away, and also proof that we don't travel around.
What's the paradox here? I mean, it's kind of exactly expected that we would find muons at the surface of the Earth under relativity.
No, actually, the decay for muons is about 6 meters. So, like, technically, a muon shouldn't be able to travel.
That's not a decay time.
Yeah, so muons decay very rapidly.
They're like. Do you know what the half-life of a muon is, or what the half-life of a muon is?
Yeah, 6 meters per second. So essentially,
that's not a half-life. No, it's 2.2 microseconds. That's the half-life of a muon.
Yeah, which is how far a muon travels in 2.2 seconds is 6 meters.
That's not true. It depends on how fast the muon is moving.
Right. So basically, what I'm saying is that the paradox is that we shouldn't have any muons at the surface.
Oh, that doesn't follow. Especially once you account for relativity, which you have to if you're talking about muons.
Okay.
Are you familiar with special relativity?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. So then, how is there a paradox if special relativity gives you time dilation, and time dilation lets you account for why we get so many muons near the surface of the Earth?
Yeah, so I mean, there was a Nobel Prize awarded for solving quote unquote solving the muon paradox back in
Which Nobel Prize was it?
I'd have to look it up. You can look it up.
I'm curious because I don't know all the Nobel Prizes offhand.
Yeah, but basically,
let's go find out. All Nobel Prizes in physics. Okay. So we have Ernest Lawrence for the invention and development of the cyclotron. That was in 39. 38 was demonstration of the existence of new radioactive elements for Enrico Fermi. Clint Davidson and George Paget Thomson for their experimental discovery of the diffraction of electrons by crystals. Victor Hess for his discovery of cosmic radiation. Carl Anderson for the discovery of positronium. James Chadwick for the discovery of a neutron. No Nobel Prize was awarded in 1934. Erwin Schrödinger and Paul A.M. Dirac for the discovery of new productive forms of atomic theory. No, nothing was awarded for muons in the 1930s. That's strange. By the way, when you're off the app, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. But yeah, basically, to what you were saying, they said that the muon paradox was solved by explaining time dilation as the reason why it was solved. But even with time dilation in the formula, it suggests that the muons are coming from an origin that's about 100 kilometers away, which obviously makes no sense because we obviously know that the sun is much further than 100 kilometers away.
The muons don't come from the sun. The muons come from cosmic rays. Cosmic rays, it comes from cosmic ray showers in particular, and those cosmic ray showers are produced in the upper atmosphere.
Yeah, but the light source that's causing those cosmic rays to produce the muons is coming from the sun.
Yeah, but the lifetime of the muon doesn't start counting until the muon is produced. So the muon doesn't start getting produced until, or the muon, the half-life of the muon doesn't start ticking down, if you will, until it's produced, which is in the upper atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which conveniently is 100 kilometers up.
Yeah, no, I know.
So it works out perfectly. There's no paradox.
No, I know. What you're saying is 100% correct. But what you just proved, what you just said is that, since we know that the starting point is 100 kilometers away, what you just proved is that space is not a vacuum. You just proved that space is not just empty space. You just proved that space
below 100 kilometers, it's not space. That's just part of the upper atmosphere.
So the starting point of the muon, if space was not water, if it was an actual vacuum, the starting point of the muon would be at the sun. The reason why
that doesn't follow.
Okay, well
the sun actually doesn't produce muons at all.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it produces neutrinos. It produces it produces neutrinos, electrons, protons. We can go look up the various chains that are involved in the sun, but no, there are no there's no muon production, at least like not in any significant amount by the sun. I'm sure you could probably detect one or two every once in a while, but this is like not the primary production. No, the muons are produced as a result of mostly protons from the solar wind. This is things from the sun, and protons coming from extrasolar sources, smashing into air molecules in the upper atmosphere. And when that happens, you get a whole shower of stuff, including muons.
Right, and I'm saying that the starting point of those muons would not, you know, if space was actually a vacuum, right? The starting point, you know, from those cosmic rays would be from the sun.
By the way, I was just double checking. Apparently, most muons are produced in the atmosphere at 15 kilometers up. Which is very clearly not in space. That's where there's still air there, and in fact, it's produced because you have cosmic rays striking the air.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I guess I'll just kind of speed this up for us, because I've done a bunch of these flat Earth debates, and usually when I get, you know, kind of far down the rabbit hole, like, you know, with somebody who, you know, believes that we live on a globe, you know, kind of the crux of the, you know, debate kind of dies in, you know, our belief in like space agencies and NASA. Like, do you believe
but
that
we don't
NASA
need you don't need space agencies in order to go 15,000 meters up. That's
No,
well
I know,
within
I
the range of just like, you can just put like a cosmic ray detector in a balloon. Like that's
No.
you don't need NASA to figure that out.
No, I totally understand that. But you know, when we come back to like the first thing I said, you know, which is, you know, water doesn't curve around a ball, right? Like, you know, I'm sure you'll probably say that, you know, well, we have, you know, pictures of the Earth, you know, of like, you know, water curving around.
Well, no, I
the
mean,
Earth.
it's just we don't even need pictures. Like, just Newton's laws get us that water does indeed curve around a ball that's sufficiently large.
So, and can you demonstrably, like, you know, demonstrate that
Newton's laws are true?
No, just on a small model. Can you put like water on like a spinning tennis ball or?
Well, yeah, you can. It's been done. Globy McGlobeface did it on video, and it's on his TikTok account.
And he got water to stick to a ball?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'd definitely love to see that.
Okay, let me show you.
Sure.
But then I want to talk about, since you brought up particle physics, I actually want to talk about neutrons, or neutrinos. You're okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah, so here's the TikTok video. I'm not going to play the audio. I'm just going to skip ahead to the relevant part, because if I play audio, then I can, you can get demonetized and stuff. Oops. Okay, so let me skip ahead to the relevant part. Okay, so here we have, see that blue thing? That blue thing is a ball in a cup of water. Okay, so ball and cup of water, right? I was going to yoink that ball out of the cup of water. It's attached to a string. Okay. Pulling it out of the cup of water. See how it's still wet, even though it's spinning?
Yeah, sure.
So that's water sticking to a ball.
I mean, what do you mean that's water sticking to a ball?
Well, the ball is wet, which means there's water stuck to it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's only a finite size for a water droplet. So I mean, it's not like, you know,
look, there's water stuck to the ball. You asked for water being stuck to a ball. And by the way, he then dries it off and shows you that there's indeed water to it. You can see the towel getting wet.
Yes, I mean, you just proved that the ball is wet. That doesn't prove
that's what I'm sorry. What do you think? I'm sorry. What do you think? What do you think it means for water to stick to something, if not for the thing to be wet?
I mean, obviously, like anything, you could take any shape and you know, put it in water. And
yeah, the Earth is wet. Yeah, the Earth is wet.
I know, but there's like the volume of water, I think, is just so it's hilarious.
Interestingly enough,
I mean,
in that video, if you were to proportionately speaking, there was more water on that ball than there is on Earth. The water was deeper.
The water was deeper on that ball that you just showed. And how can you?
He measured it. He just measured the depth of the water on the ball. It was like half a millimeter deep.
Okay, but like I said, like there is a finite size for like a water droplet, right? So like you can't have a water droplet that.
What does that have to do with? You asked me to show water sticking to a ball, and I did.
Yeah, and you showed me that a ball can be wet. I mean, that's
water. That's water sticking to a ball. What would you expect it to look like?
Yeah, you're talking about, like, you know, surface tension and, you know, attraction of molecules.
Yeah, there's forces that keep the water stuck to the ball. In the case of like a rubber ball like that, it is surface tension. In the case of the Earth, it's gravity.
Yeah, so you're saying it isn't the same example then?
Well, it's what I mean. You didn't ask for showing gravity with water sticking to a ball. You just asked for water sticking to a ball. And
Okay,
if you
yeah,
understand
well,
anything about gravity, then you'll understand that you cannot have gravity pulling something to the surface of a ball if that ball is also in a larger gravitational field and the ball that you're testing is far too small.
Right, but in the video that you showed, like it cuts to the clip of just like showing the ball that's wet. Like when you first take the ball out of the cup of water, like there's going to be drips coming off the bottom of the ball.
Yep, that's true. And then after those drips stop, it just stays wet.
Right, so is Antarctica like drip water down into like the bottom of the world?
Yeah, so the reason why the drips fall off this rubber ball is because there's a strong gravitational pull pulling things downward. The gravitational pull on the Earth is pulling things inward, right? There's no gravity pulling the water down, further down below Antarctica. That's not how gravity works. There's not like, it's not like the Earth is a ball on a much bigger planet with even more gravity. That's just not how that works.
All right, let's establish the common ground. We do both understand the factual fact that gravity is just a theory, correct? And it's not like
when you say theory, what do you mean?
So I mean that is not a proven scientific fact that gravity is the explanation for.
I think that you're making a category error. Science isn't in the business of proving things.
Okay.
It's not in the business of proving things true. Okay, Science is in the business of providing evidence.
So we agree that gravity is still a theory because it is.
When you say still a theory, it makes it sound like that it could be in principle promoted to like a scientific fact, but that's a category error. What is the case is that there is overwhelming evidence that our current models of gravity are extremely accurate.
Okay, so then how do you know that, like, if let's say I drop an object and then it falls to the ground, how can you explain that that's not just density, that
because density doesn't have a vector. So in order for objects to move, you need a force. This is Newton's first law. An object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an external force. It's Newton's first law.
So
if you want an object that's initially at rest, like when you're holding it, if you want it to start moving, you need some kind of force. Density is not a force.
Right, density isn't a force, but it can cause something to sink to the bottom of the ocean.
No, density doesn't cause that.
Okay, so then how does buoyancy override?
There are two forces that are relevant when examining an object in fluid. Well, at least there's at least two forces that are relevant. You could have more forces if you put like, a jet engine behind something or whatever. You can add forces willy-nilly. But for example, if you have like, I don't know, an object underwater, there's going to be two forces. There's going to be a gravitational force downwards and a buoyant force upwards. The buoyant force upwards is a result of the pressure differential in the fluid that's caused by gravity.
Okay, and how do you measure gravity?
Yeah, you can do it with a Cavendish type experiment. You can do it with a gravity probe B type experiment. You can do it with there was another experiment whose name I can't remember. You can do it with a Pound-Snyder type experiment. You can measure gravity in all sorts of different ways.
All of those things you're talking about measuring the effect of something.
Yes, like we're measuring the effect of gravity.
Which is what I call density and what you're calling gravity.
Density isn't a force.
Yeah, but density around, another, atmosphere or a gas or
density isn't a force, right?
Right, density isn't a force.
So then what's the force that causes the motion?
It's just the fact that one object is heavier than the other object.
What's the force?
So if you have a rock surrounded by air, the rock is heavier than the air.
You keep just saying the rock is heavier than the air, but what's the force? What is the origin of the force?
The weight of the object.
Okay, so weight is the weight of an object is what we call the gravitational force on the object. That's what weight is.
Yeah, what I'm calling density is what you're calling gravity.
Weight and density are not the same thing.
Right.
So yeah, it's not density, it's weight. And weight is gravity.
Yeah.
I'm glad we agree that weight and gravity are the same thing. Density is not either.
I prove that gravity.
Sorry, you're cutting out. One more time?
Around a ball.
Can you say that again? You were cutting out. You there?
Yeah, so I was saying back to the original thing that we started saying. You never proved how. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, when you're on, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so back to the original thing that that we were originally saying is like how can you prove demonstrably that water can curve around a ball due to gravity, and not that a ball can get wet, because that's like a stupid argument.
So we've just done the FLERF reset because we've already been over this like 10 minutes ago. All you need is Newton's universal law of gravitation and Newton's second law of motion, and then you get that water sticks to a ball. That's all you need, and we can prove that both of those things hold true.
Okay, but
very
like,
easily.
Can you show that? Can you demonstrate that though?
Can you demonstrate that Newton's universal law of gravitation is true? Yeah, sure. That's
No,
what Cavendish experiments do.
Stick to a ball.
Well,
That
look,
water can
once
stick to a
once
ball
Newton's
and
universal
not-
law once Newton's universal law of gravitation is true, then it trivially follows that water can stick to a ball if the ball is massive enough. You understand that,
Okay,
right? Like
but-
if you can prove that gravity is real, then it's obvious why water can stick to a ball.
Yeah, I understand how you're saying water sticks to a ball in the same sense that you just demonstrated that a ball can be wet. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, you know,
You didn't understand what I just said then, did you? Because that's not what
No,
I didn't say anything like that. My point is do you agree that if you can prove gravity is real, then it's just obvious how water can stick to a ball? Because gravity is just when two heavy things, or two things, at least one of which is heavy, pull on each other, right? And so in particular, if you have a heavy earth and gravity is real, then that will pull on the water and allow it to stick to the ball.
Right, but you used an example to show me how I'm wrong, right? And you pulled up that video, and you yourself admitted that the reason why the water was sticking to the ball was not because of gravity, because you admitted that the gravity would be inside the ball.
The reason I gave you that was
that's not
because
a good
you
example.
asked for an example of water sticking to a ball. You didn't mention anything about gravity. Now, if you want evidence, that water can stick to a ball gravitationally, then all you need to do is show that gravity is real. Do we agree that if you can show that gravity is real, then it's trivially true that water can stick to a ball?
If gravity is real, that does not change the laws of hydrodynamics or thermodynamics. It does not.
Those are irrelevant for the water sticking to a ball.
How?
All you need to know in order to see whether or not water can stick to a ball is you just need to know what forces are present. If gravity as a force is present, then the water will be attracted to the ball, and so it can stick to it. That's what attraction does.
Okay, in a uniform manner, in a 360-degree ball, you're saying that
If the
gravity
gravity,
is pulling it.
so gravity pulls inwards, right, in all directions. That's what Newton's universal law of gravitation is about. And so if you have a ball, anything on the surface of the ball will be pulled toward the center of the ball, and that would include water, if gravity is real. So surely we can agree that if gravity is real, as Newton described it, then it follows that water can stick to a ball.
Okay, so just tell me where I go wrong here, because I'm gonna pretend that you're right. Okay, you tell me where I go wrong. All right, so if I look at water that is inside of my cup, right? Water inside my cup, you can laser test it in a bowl, it's perfectly flat. And then we'll move up to a puddle. We can laser test a puddle.
So that's your first mistake. No, you can't test that it's perfectly flat.
Okay.
Are you familiar with a meniscus?
Yes, I'm very familiar with meniscus.
Menisci mean that water in any sort of container is never going to be perfectly flat.
Okay, yeah, because you can overfill the cup and then it can it can create like a slight dome.
I mean, even if it's not overfilled, you have the meniscus, which has it curving up, right?
Okay, so then let's not use a container. Let's use a puddle. Okay, so a puddle is completely. Sure. You can have puddles that are literally 100% flat. Like laser test a puddle is like glass flat.
No, it won't be.
No, it won't be.
No.
Okay, so puddles can't be flat.
No, I mean you can't laser test it to be perfectly flat. You can get flat to within some degree of error, but when you make measurements, you never get perfectly anything. And what you'll find is over sufficiently large bodies of water, it is within error not flat.
All right. Well, just take my claims as if they're fact, and then tell me where I go wrong. All right. So I just did. Puddles are laser tested to be flat.
Right. That's where you go wrong. That's false.
Okay. So I'm saying that is not true. And then, when you move up to like a pond, ponds are laser tested 100%.
Right. That's also false.
Lakes laser tested to be 100%.
Also false.
Flat. Okay. So all the laser tests that have been done, even on like the Great Lakes.
What laser tests have been done?
There's been many laser tests that have been done.
Can you give me an example?
I don't have access to Google like you do while I'm on the phone, but yeah, I mean, you can look up, millions of different laser tests.
Yeah. So
that have done to prove it flat. So
the easy thing that you can do is you can just test line of sight. And this is done by surveyors. You can test line of sight and you will find that, for example, across a lake that is 1 mile wide, you get that it's not flat, in fact.
Yeah,
You get
what
that
I'm saying
it's off by flat by a few inches from one side to the other.
Okay, I have no idea where you're getting that information.
I can show you the video. It was done by a surveyor by the name of Baron Rutledge. You want me to show you?
No.
No, you don't want to see the evidence that the Earth is, or that a lake is not flat?
No, because I know that there's a couple laser tests that have been done.
Here, let me show you. So this is the lake. This is Lake Pleasant in Arizona. I'm just going to skip forward a bit. So here he has a target. It's, you know, sitting in the water. And he's going to measure how high it is above the surface of the water. It's, you know, he's showing us that it's level. He's measuring the height from a nail to the CL of the target. And he gets, so the target, the middle of that target is 61 inches above the surface of the water.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that...
Hold on. We'll get there.
Yeah.
And so he also gives us the coordinates for where he is. Here's the coordinates for where he is. And then he goes over to the other side of the lake and he sets up a theodolite, or in this case, it's actually an auto level. And he measures the height of the auto level above the surface of the lake. If I can see where he does that. Here's him measuring the auto level above the surface of the lake. It's 61 inches. So they're both 61 inches above the surface of the lake, right?
Yeah.
And now he's going to look through this auto level. Here's his
how
location
long is
here.
how long is this test? Like how many feet?
It's 1 mile.
Yeah, 1 mile. So there's laser tests that have been way beyond
so
that.
here's his here's looking through the auto level. It's hard to see. He's going to zoom in a sec. It's hard to see where the target is. Here it is. So here's the target. See the little pink bit? That's the thing that we were looking at earlier. And notice that it's below this central middle line, which means that even though they're both 61 inches above the surface of the water, somehow the target appears lower than 61 inches from the other side, which means that the surface of the water must curve.
Right. I've seen like 100 of these laser tests, and this is one of the ones I have
What about,
seen.
This isn't a laser test. This is just a line of sight test.
Well, even line of sight tests, and I'm talking laser tests. So I'm saying
in fact, line of sight tests are a little bit better because line of sight doesn't have divergence, whereas lasers do. Lasers spread out, right?
And the test you just showed me was like 1 mile. I mean, I've seen tests that are, you know, like 20 miles that have shown that, you know, it's 100% laser tested. You know,
well,
to be, you know,
did you hear what I said about lasers? Lasers, the trouble with lasers is that they spread out and they diffract. With line of sight, you don't run into that issue, which is why you use line of sight with theodolites rather than just using a laser. Because the lasers will bend depending on surface or depending on atmospheric conditions, right?
Yeah,
lasers will spread out as well.
Yeah,
in fact, a laser, in fact, for a laser over, like even over 1 mile, like a standard laser, like a laser pointer, or even like a high-end sophisticated laser, over 1 mile, we can work out how wide the beam would be after a mile. The standard, like a good divergence of a laser is about 1 milliradian. Which means that it gains, it spreads out by 1/1000th of a, so the angle is 1 milliradian. So that means that it grows for every 1,000 feet, it will grow by 1 foot across. So across a lake that is 1 mile, your laser dot's going to be 5 feet across, right?
No, actually, by your own globe beliefs, but the globe people like yourself all pretty much say that it's about 8 inches.
I'm not talking about the curvature. I'm talking about how much lasers spread out. Lasers spread out as a result of traveling, right? Because they're not perfectly straight. And so for a good laser with a divergence of, say, 1 milliradian, over the course of 1 mile, your beam will be 5 feet across, slightly more than 5 feet across. So that's not a particular, like, if it's only supposed to drop 8 inches over 1 mile, but the beam is 5 feet across, good luck telling if it's actually dropped at all.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, like I said, when it comes to laser tests, I've seen like, you know, 100 different laser tests that prove that it's flat. I have seen the one that you just showed. I've seen a couple different ones, similar to the one that you just showed that, you know, suggests that, you know, it's.
So I didn't show you a laser test.
You showed a line of sight test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the same thing.
Yeah, I know it's not the same thing. I mean, I've seen the video that you just showed.
Okay. So what's the issue with it?
Just that I just don't think that it's the way that he did it was accurate at all.
He's a surveyor. It's his day job.
Okay, I mean,
he's a professional surveyor.
I could send you endless links to other types of surveyors that do railroad tracks. And
Please.
Yeah.
Now, I did mention that I wanted to bring up neutrinos. Do you know what a neutrino is?
Yes.
Okay, so just for those who don't know, a neutrino is a kind of subatomic particle, and it basically doesn't interact with anything, right? They can pass through steel, they can pass through lead, they can pass through like hundreds of feet of lead with no issue. And so they also don't interact with light, which means, they don't interact with electromagnetism, which means that they aren't refracted. So, if you have a beam of light, if the air density changes, then the beam can bend, right? This is a common problem, and this is what causes things like mirages, right? Like the fluctuation of light. So neutrinos don't refract, right? Which is really great. And so what you can do is you can basically use a neutrino laser, which is not going to bend due to atmospheric or any kinds of conditions, and you can just ask, well, if you shine a neutrino laser straight at some target, do you have to angle it up, down, or straight to hit your target at the same height? And basically, this has been done. It's been done over 730 kilometers, and it turns out, and let me show you a particular diagram, section 3.3 of this one, 4.2, 3.3, where's 3.3? Here we go. Yeah. So it turns out this has been done. It started at Fermilab, which is near Chicago, and it ended in Sudan and Minnesota. So they basically have a beam of neutrinos in Fermilab, starts out slightly underground, and they have a target in Minnesota, 730 kilometers away, that is, I think, 700 feet underground, right? It's like 700-ish feet, something like this. And in order for the neutrino beam in Fermilab to hit the target in Sudan, they have to angle the neutrino beam down at 3 degrees. They have to shoot the neutrino beam into the ground in order to hit a target 730 kilometers away. And the only way that makes sense is if you realize that they have to point it into the ground to go through the curvature of the Earth, because the neutrinos travel in a straight line. They don't travel across the surface of the Earth. And so here, this little diagram here explains what's happening. They point the beam down into the ground, so it goes straight across into Sudan. And this is an experiment that's actually done.
Okay. So what you're telling me is that if, like, let's just do a hypothetical. You built a swimming pool and you made the swimming pool 20 miles long. Mm-hmm. You're telling me at 8 inches of curve per mile, you're telling me that after that 20-mile long swimming pool, that in the middle you would have a bulge that is 160 inches taller than the other two ends of the pool.
Sure. Can you address what I said?
Yeah, that's this is how I'm addressing it. I'm saying that because you are clearly.
What does that have to do with the? What does that have to do with the neutrino beam?
Yeah, because I understand that you're doing neutrino beam tests. Before that, you did line of sight tests. But I'm saying that, like, you're obviously very much so in the belief that over even from the map that you have on the screen from Fermilab to Sudan, you're very much so in the belief that it's 100% flat. Bodies of water are 100% flat. In between that distance. So I'm giving you a much shorter.
Why would I make this? Hold on, I'm not assuming anything is flat.
Then why are you even showing the image then?
What I'm showing you is that they have to angle the beam downward into the ground, and then at the other end, I didn't mention this, but at the other end, they detect the neutrinos coming up from below. How does that make sense if the Earth is flat?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you think that that's proof that the Earth is a globe, I mean, I don't know where to.
Can you respond
that's why I'm trying
to what I said?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to start with a little bit more of like a basic, understanding, so that way, people who are like listening can actually understand, because I don't think anyone who's listening can understand what you're talking about.
I mean, this isn't that hard to understand. You shoot a beam of stuff through the Earth. You angle it down into the ground at the origin of your beam, and then at the pickup location, you detect them coming up from below.
Right.
That's not hard to understand.
Yeah, I know, but now we're getting into it. But I can get into 20 different sub-arguments based on that. I can get into an argument about refraction and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep the argument simple.
Refraction doesn't happen for neutrinos.
But I'm trying to keep the argument simple. I'm saying you had a.
Then address what I said simply. Why is it that you have to? Why is it that, look, you have two things that are both underground. In order to, one of them is like 700 feet underground. The other one's like 30 feet underground or whatever. the source shoots down into the ground, and the detector picks it up coming from below. So how is it that you can have a source going this way, and how is it that somehow, if the Earth were flat, the beam goes like this? How does it curve up?
I don't
Because
see
that's
how
what would be required if the Earth were flat.
I just don't see how this is proof of flat Earth or globe Earth. I just don't see.
Then let me explain. If you are detecting something coming up from below you, right? It's coming. You can, you have your detector. You can tell what direction it's coming up at, or you can tell what direction you're detecting the thing at. If it were coming straight at you, you would see the lines coming straight through. But instead, they see the lines coming up from the ground. So you have a detector, and then you see stuff coming up at you from below. On a flat Earth, what would that mean? What would that mean where the source is, assuming that this stuff that you're detecting travels in a straight line?
It wouldn't mean anything.
Okay, so you don't think that you can learn anything about where the source is based off of the angle that you've detected something at?
Not even close. No, I don't believe that.
So then how do you think that you can use a laser to do anything? Because what you do with a laser is that you detect what angle the laser's coming at, and that will tell you where the source is.
Right.
This is just a laser test, but with something that's even more precise than a laser.
Yeah. So I understand where you're trying to go with it, but what I'm saying is that if you're relying on either neutrino test or laser test, like let's just make it super simple. Let's just do like an eye experiment, something we can do with our eyes, right? Like the swimming pool, 20 miles long. You're telling me that you'd see a bulge in the middle of the swimming pool that is 160 inches.
You wouldn't see a bulge. You would find that you're not able to see beyond a certain point.
Right, because that's called the vanishing point.
No, that's called the horizon. But please address this. This diagram is not complicated, right? They shoot it down into the ground, and then it comes up from below the ground.
Yeah, and I just like I said, I did address it, and the way I'm addressing it, I just don't.
Can you explain how this would work on a flat Earth?
I just don't see how it wouldn't. I just don't see how this is even an argument of flat or globe.
Okay, then I'll draw you a diagram, and we will assume the Earth is flat, and then I'll ask you to explain what's going on in the diagram. How about that? Okay, so let me change to paint. When you're off the app, I can't hear you, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to assume the Earth is flat. Obviously, there are mountains and stuff, but, we can ignore those for now. They're not super relevant. I keep knocking things off my desk. So let's make it green, because the Earth is green, right? Here's our flat Earth. And below it, we have ground, right? And then above it, we have sky. There's our flat Earth. Now, we have we can just call it a black box. It doesn't really matter what it is. We have a black box here that sends out neutrinos. And then we have a detector here that detects neutrinos. Now, we know how far away these are. One is in Sudan, the other is in Chicago. They're 730 kilometers away. Now, what the detector sees, we're going to use yellow for neutrinos. I don't know if you're still here, by the way. What the detector sees is that the neutrinos are coming up at this angle. Right? It detects them coming up at this angle. Obviously not scale, but it's the idea. You there?
Yeah, I'm still here, yep.
Okay, so the neutrinos, the detector sees the neutrinos coming up towards them. So they're going in, let me make these little arrows. So they're going in this direction. This is what the detector sees. Now, on the other hand, we can figure out what direction we're aiming the neutrinos at from the emitter. The emitter angles them this way. So the neutrinos leave the emitter in this direction. And, they're going that way. Now, how do you connect these lines so that these neutrinos over here are detected by this detector over here? How do you connect the lines so that it's the same, so that they're the same neutrinos?
Yeah, but these are surveying assumptions.
There's no surveying assumptions. We know what direction. We know what angle the neutrinos are leaving at. We know what angle the angles are coming.
So then explain, where's the independent curvature verification?
Look, I'm just asking you to explain how this would work on a flat Earth.
And I'm asking you to explain how, even in this model that you're using, with the neutrinos, where is the independent curvature verification?
Please don't dodge the question.
No, just as well as I do that
you said that this could work just as well on a flat Earth.
Okay, but
so how does it work?
Right, you dodged my question. Where is the independent curvature verification? Because that
this is this is the curvature verification,
which is built in with geometric data that supports.
What are you talking about?
Is a globe. You're starting off an experiment.
How did the neutrinos get from here to here? By the way, this experiment was not used. It was not like intended to prove the Earth is a sphere. This experiment is completely unrelated to the curvature of the Earth.
I'm answering your question. You just said, explain how the neutrinos got from here to here. And
yeah, how did they go from here to here?
And you're assuming that they did with a measuring device, right? So you have to measure that. They got from there to there. So where is the independent curve verification?
You don't need to do anything about the curve. A detector detects neutrinos. An emitter emits neutrinos. We know what angle they're emitted at because the emitter is just angled downwards.
Okay.
And the detector picks up the traces that the neutrinos move in, and you can figure out what angle they're coming at from those traces. So there's no assumptions here.
Yeah, so the reason why I didn't want to get into this type of debate with you is because most of the listeners can't understand it. I mean, I can understand it because
that's fine. It doesn't matter what the listeners say. Right, it doesn't matter what the listeners believe, rather. I'm interested in you.
But I'm saying so if you want me to argue it on your level, just as well as I do that those neutrinos are barely intact when they get to the other side. You're also
that's not true.
You also dodged my question. You didn't say. I said, where is the independent curve verification? You don't have an answer.
There's nothing in this experiment that has anything to do with curvature. This is not an experiment about curvature. This is an experiment for something completely unrelated. It just happens to be really, really good evidence that the Earth is curved.
Okay, and then can you explain the relative versus absolute downward?
Relative versus absolute, yeah. So you can just use the local tangent, which you can find by using a plumb line.
Which is assuming that the Earth is a globe.
No, it's not. No, whether the Earth is flat or a globe, there will be a local tangent, right?
Okay, so then if it's not assuming that the Earth is a globe, then where is the independent curve verification?
I don't understand what that question means. I just want an explanation for how these neutrinos go from here to here. How do they do it?
Yeah, but I'm saying you're assuming that they did go from there to there.
They did.
You measured them going from there to there.
Yeah. So that's what detectors do. Detectors measure neutrinos.
Then my question needs to be answered first, because if you're saying you measured them to go from here to here, right? Where is the independent curve verification?
What? That seems like a red herring. There's no curve verification that needs to happen here.
It seems like a red herring because you know that you're using
I just don't even understand what you're saying. Look.
What I'm saying is that.
So do we agree that they can measure the neutrinos at the detector site?
You're saying that they can measure the neutrinos at the detector site.
Okay, do you not think that they can?
I'm saying it's like the most unreliable thing on the planet because most of those neutrinos are yes, 100%.
Neutrinos don't decay, by the way.
No, they're barely intact by the time they get to the other side.
What does it mean for a neutrino to be barely intact?
It means that they're not measuring. Like this is just like it's a terrible argument to prove that
you haven't even addressed it. You don't even know what the argument is.
I do know what the argument is, and I asked you to address the question first. Where is the independent curve verification?
This has nothing. The curvature has nothing to do with this observation that you detect neutrinos coming up from below you. Like
right.
Okay. So forget the shape of the Earth. These are just two objects, right? There's an emitter and a detector. Do you agree that the detector detects neutrinos?
I agree that the detector detects neutrinos using geodata.
No, it doesn't.
Geodata.
It doesn't use any geodata. No, it doesn't.
Okay, then show me that.
Yeah, okay, let me show you the plot. It's figure 10. It's figure 9. Here's figure 10. Yeah, so here's the data. So this is the energy spectrum of the neutrinos and the antineutrinos observed at the far detector. That's what FD is, compared with expectation with and without oscillation. So the relevant thing here is you want to look at the Minos data here, and then you want to look at oh, you can't even see it here because it's so tiny. Look at the NC background. The NC background is this little bit down here. You can see it better here. So the background neutrinos. The background neutrinos would be in gray. I don't know if you can see this. It's this little gray block here. That's what they expect to see. when they have the machine turned off, when they have the source turned off. That's what they see. And when they turn it on, they see these black dots. So this is proof that the neutrinos that they're detecting are the neutrinos that are being sent out by the emitter, right? Because they're detecting more than the background level. And you can see this in all of these plots, right? Here you have the neutrino background, and here's the neutrino beam, right?
Okay, that they're shooting down.
Yeah, that they're shooting down. So they turn the machine on, and then they start to detect this level of neutrinos. When they turn the machine off, they detect this level of neutrinos. So that's proof that they're detecting neutrinos from the machine that produces them.
All right, but I
so
believe
far, so
that
good?
I believe that the Earth is flat, right? So
right,
on my
so
Earth,
nothing that I just showed you has anything to do with the shape of the Earth.
Right, so on the neutrino, let's stay on the neutrinos though, because you're so obsessed with this. All right, so on my flat Earth model, right, down is relative to just literally the perpendicular
yeah, I know.
surface of the Earth. Yeah, so down for me is relative, right?
So by the way, there's nothing about angle here, right? Nothing about angle. This is just how many neutrinos have been detected. And so this is proof that the thing that is emitting the neutrinos is the source of the thing that they're detecting, right?
But you're saying that they angle slightly downward, correct?
So we can talk about the geometry of the original neutrino beam. The original neutrino beam is angled downward at about a 3-degree angle. But even if it, like, regardless of what angle it's angled at, the point is that when you turn on the machine, they detect the neutrinos.
Right.
So that means that they are detecting what the machine spits out, right?
So what you just proved was alignment between two vertical frames. You did not prove curvature. You just proved alignment.
So let's back up. Do we agree that this data is proof that the neutrinos that they're detecting at the detector are the neutrinos that are produced by the emitter? Do we agree on that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now let's go look at another piece of data. Let's go look at the momentum reconstruction in the longitudinal direction. This is figure 5. Okay. So this is data at the detector that tells us about the momentum of the neutrinos once they've been detected. So importantly, the important thing to look at is this green arrow here. See that green arrow? That's the reconstructed momentum using the detector. So you use the detector, you see a whole bunch of stuff, and then you can reconstruct the momentum of the thing that caused those interactions. Right. And notice that it's angled up a little bit, right? It's angled up and to the right.
Right, and so you're saying that there is no surveying assumptions that are made when detecting these neutrinos.
This is just relative to the local vertical. And so really? So importantly, this is exactly what I was talking about. The neutrinos are angled up and to the right.
So to all your viewers and everyone viewing this, and you're going on about your what you think is like a smoking gun. You're saying that there is no geodetic system that this is relying.
They're just using local vertical.
Yeah, which is a geodetic system.
Yeah, okay, but local vertical exists whether you're on a flat Earth or a globe Earth, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So but the point is that regardless of the shape of the Earth, they measure them coming up from below, and that's what that data point. That's what that.
But now you contradicted yourself. So first you said that there was no. What? No, you're contradicting yourself.
the local vertical is not geodetic data. Right, that's just the local vertical. Geodetic data is about large-scale measurements of curvature.
Contradicting yourself is at first you said there are no survey assumptions, and now you're saying that there are, which is the geodetic data.
Surveying assumption is not local. It's like you don't need to make any surveying assumptions to get a local vertical.
No, I'm saying that the survey assumptions are inherent in the geodetic system that you're using. They're inherent.
Look, do you agree that regardless of the shape of the Earth, you can figure out what the local vertical is?
Down versus relative. Mine is down. So like as I know that
so look.
So
look.
my
right. So we're assuming that right, exactly. We're assuming the Earth is flat for the sake of argument. We're assuming that the Earth is flat. So that means that they have a vertical, which if the Earth is flat, it would be the one that's aligned with the one that you think. It's just down. It's perpendicular to the horizontal, and relative to that vertical, they measure the neutrinos going up at this angle. Right? That's what the piece of data I just showed you says, right? So they're measuring they are measuring the, it's obviously not the scale in my drawing, but they're measuring it going up and to the right. So
Perfect.
we
Yeah.
agree that the neutrinos that they're picking up are the neutrinos that are from the source, and they're measured up and to the right. That's the direction that they're traveling in when they're detected. So we also know what direction the angle is for the emission source, right? The emission source, we have I can show you a plot of this. Here's a useful diagram. Let me just open this really quick. This is a useful diagram for the emission source. It's just this is like an official diagram of, and like, see, you can just assume the Earth is flat, right? Notice that the emission source is down. Now this is flipped. I have it flipped relative, but the point is that this is, the emission source angles down into the ground, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if it goes down into the ground, so now we've assembled all of the pieces we need. That somehow, if the Earth is flat, we have neutrinos that go down into the ground from the emission source and are picked up moving up from below ground at the detector. So what is going on between the emission source and the detector that allows for these neutrinos to go down and then come back up?
Yeah, which, like I said, again, is being, you're trying to, it's an irrelevant point, because I mean, I've said it 50 times. We were just going to go around in circles and circles on this one.
You haven't actually answered that question at all. You've never provided an explanation for why they go down and then come back up.
Actually, I did. I've
okay,
done
what's
that,
the explanation? Remind me.
So I mean, I just don't want to keep like beating a dead horse.
Okay,
like,
please remind me. Just do me a favor. I'm dumb and slow. I just need you to remind me. I just didn't remember.
Yeah, just based on we're talking about two totally separate things, and neither of which prove that the Earth is flat or that it's a globe.
Why aren't you just telling me what the explanation is for how they go down and then back up?
So you're assuming that they are going down and back up.
Well, we know that the emission source points down. I just showed you a diagram. We know that the detection detects them coming up from below.
But you're saying that it's pointing.
And we know
down
that it's the same neutrinos.
But you're saying that it's pointing down at an angle, correct?
Yeah. The emission source, yeah.
Yeah,
pointed down into the ground.
Right, and I'm just saying that it's not pointing down at an angle.
I just showed you a diagram showing that it is pointing down at an angle.
No, we just.
Here's the diagram. This is the geometry of the emission source. See how the beamline goes down into the ground?
Yes, I see how it goes down into the ground. Yeah.
So, like, it is pointed down into the ground.
Right.
So why are you saying that it's not?
No, I'm not saying it's not being pointed down into the ground.
You just did.
I'm saying that you're saying that it is curving as it's going down.
Well, look, Mike, I'm just talking about the initial downward angle. The initial downward angle is like, it's there. It's like 3 degrees. It points down at like 3 degrees. And then when they detect them, it points up at like some number of degrees. It's like slightly less than 3 degrees.
Yep.
So what's the explanation for the neutrinos doing that?
Like I said, I just don't view this as like even close to a remote.
I know. I just want the explanation regardless. I know you don't think it's important, but what's the explanation?
The explanation is that we are arguing about two different things. Like, you're saying something totally
I'm
opposite.
asking you a single question. You agreed with all 3 points that these neutrinos are the same as these neutrinos, that these neutrinos are coming up at an angle, and that these neutrinos are coming down at an angle. And so if these are the same neutrinos and those angles are all correct, then something must connect them. How are they connected? Yeah. Why do they bend?
But this is exactly what I'm saying. You're assuming that they're bending.
Well, it's the same neutrinos. How could it be that these neutrinos, if they weren't bending, how could they end up going up at an angle? If they weren't bending.
Again, you're assuming that they're going up at an angle.
I'm not assuming it. I showed you the data.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that the data that you're using, like, so this is the reason why this whole
thing. The data that I'm using is just using the local vertical. The local vertical it's there whether or not the Earth is flat or a sphere.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like
stupid. So even if the Earth is flat, the local vertical would be the same.
No.
Yeah, the local vertical is always tangent to the horizontal. That's just what the local vertical is, and that's true on a flat Earth, that's true on a globe Earth. So the point is that, yes, they absolutely are angled up and to the right, and you already agreed to this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. That's not what I agreed to. I agreed to the fact that it is, you know, emitting neutrinos, like you said.
No, you definitely did agree to it. We can want to watch the playback.
No.
We should anyway. Up from. So here.
Because alignment.
Wait, proves great. So do you agree that? Here, hold on. Where is it? Is it here? No. Is it here? Here we go.
Perfect.
We agree that the neutrinos that they're picking up are the neutrinos that are from the Sorry, let me rewind a little bit. And relative to that vertical, they measure the neutrinos going up at this angle. Right? That's what the piece of data I just showed you says. Oh, we should rewind a little bit because I guess that you agreed to it earlier. Okay, here we go. Okay. So this is data at the detector that tells us about the momentum of the neutrinos once they've been detected. So importantly, the important thing to look at is this green arrow here. See that green arrow? That's the reconstructed momentum using the detector. So you use the detector, you see a whole bunch of stuff, and then you can reconstruct the momentum of the thing that caused those interactions. Right. And notice that it's angled up a little bit, right? It's angled up and to the right.
Right, and so you're saying that there is no surveying assumptions that are made when detecting these neutrinos.
This is just relative to the local vertical, and so
really?
So importantly, this is exactly what I was talking about. The neutrinos are angled up and to the right.
So to all your viewers and everyone viewing this, and you're going on about your what you think is like a smoking gun. You're saying that there is no geodetic system.
Speed it up a little bit.
This is relying.
They're just using local vertical.
Yeah, which is a geodetic system.
Yeah, okay, but local vertical exists whether you're on a flat Earth or a globe Earth, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So, but the point is that regardless of the shape of the Earth, they measure them coming up from below. And
but now you contradicted yourself. So first you said that there wasn't. No, what? No,
so the local vertical is not geodetic data. Right, that's just the local vertical. Geodetic data is about large scale measurements of curvature.
Contradicting yourself is at first you said there are no survey assumptions, and now you're saying that there are, which is the geodetic.
Surveying assumption is not local. It's like you don't need to make any surveying assumptions to get a local vertical.
No, I'm saying that the survey assumptions are inherent in the geodetic system that you're using. They're inherent.
Look, do you agree that regardless of the shape of the Earth, you can figure out what the local vertical is?
Down versus relative. Mine is down. So like as I
my
right. So
we're assuming that right, exactly. We're assuming the Earth is flat for the sake of argument. We're assuming that the Earth is flat. So that means that they have a vertical, which if the Earth is flat, it would be the one that's aligned with the one that you think. It's just down. It's perpendicular to the horizontal. And relative to that vertical, they measure the neutrinos going up at this angle. Right. That's what the piece of data I just showed you says. Right. So they're measuring. They're right. Yes. You just agreed that it does go up and to the right.
I'm sorry, that in no way did I agree that all right, so yeah, I agree that it's going up and to the right, but it's not saying that I'm agreeing with the fact that it's actually detecting. So what I'm saying is that
it's going up and to the right. Up and to the right.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that the fact that the neutrinos barely interact with each other, correct? So
they don't interact with each other at all, right?
Right. So what I'm saying is the fact that it's passing through rock does not prove in any way that there's Earth's curvature or that it's flat. That's why I'm saying it's a stupid argument to use to prove.
You agreed that they're moving up and to the right. You agreed earlier that they are the same neutrinos coming from the source and being detected at the detector, and you agreed that the detector is angled down into the ground relative to the local vertical. So how is it that these same neutrinos make it over here? Connect the dots for me.
Yeah, you're proving the existence of two adjacent vertical frames. It's not
that's not answering my question. How do these neutrinos are originally angled down? How is it that they're then detected coming up? What causes their direction to change?
Right. So the detector, which is detecting the neutrinos, is based off a geodetic system, which
is just based off of local. It's just based off of local vertical.
Based off of the same thing, GPS.
So it's not based off of GPS.
Okay, then
it's based off. It's just low. It's literally just local vertical. Just using a level, a sophisticated level, but a level nonetheless.
Okay, so you're saying that there is a neutrino detector that exists that does not rely on geodetic data whatsoever.
It relies on
it-
local vertical. That's all you need. There's no GPS
Okay.
required. You don't need to know the shape of the Earth. It's
alright, so we
just you
finally-
need to know what vertical is. So
Alright,
how
so
is
we
it
fin-
that
so we
this
finally caught
angle?
you, so I finally caught you being wrong for once.
So
at
what
least
is it
finally-
that what causes these neutrinos to bend and go up?
Okay,
Just
so
stop avoiding the question. Answer the question.
Okay, but I finally caught you being wrong for once.
Can you just answer the question, please? You've dodged it
Yeah.
now for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I said I finally caught you being wrong for once. So,
What
I
is
mean,
the,
I'm saying,
what is
but
the answer? How did the neutrinos go from bending down to bending up?
They're not bending, is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
so why is it that they're initially pointed downwards and then later they're detected coming upwards?
Okay, because what I'm saying, so now we're arguing about, so we've gone to the crux of our argument between what me and you are disagreeing upon. I'm disagreeing upon.
You haven't answered my question once.
I am answering your question right
okay,
now.
Then it shouldn't involve anything that I say. You
Right,
need
it's
to
not.
explain why the neutrinos are initially pointed downwards and they're later detected pointed upwards.
Right, and I'm saying it's because of the detector that is detecting the neutrinos. The detector
Okay,
is
so the
using
detector is causing them to angle upwards?
No, the detector is detecting the neutrinos, right? It is using
it
a
detects the
geodetic
neutrinos.
reference system, right?
Can you prove
which
that?
is based off. It's the detector that is detecting the neutrinos is using a geodetic reference system that is assuming that the Earth is already a globe.
Can you prove that?
Can you prove that there is any neutrino measuring device that doesn't rely on geodetic data? Can you prove that?
What geodetic? Like, you just made a huge assumption. You just made the assumption that they're relying on geodetic data. Where's the evidence for this claim?
I'm telling you a fact. There is no such thing as a
how do we know that that's a fact?
measuring device? Because you go Google it yourself. Is there a neutrino measuring device that doesn't rely on geodetic data?
Sorry,
show me that. Then you win the
what
argument.
part of this neutrino measuring device relies on geodetic data?
The device itself relies on geodetic
like what
data.
part
That
of it?
assumes
What
that-
part uses geodetic data?
What do you mean? What part of it? The measuring device itself. What do you want to say? The microchip? Like what do you? What
No,
answer are you
I
looking for?
like where is the geodetic data being included in this detection mechanism?
Okay, that's what I'm asking you to prove, because this is your argument.
All they're
You know?
using is local vertical. That's all they're using.
Okay.
Local vertical doesn't rely on GPS.
Okay. So what I'm saying is
Where's the
device
geodetic data that's required to figure out what local vertical is?
inside of the device that's measuring.
Okay,
the
why do you
neutrino.
think that that's true?
Because I know that it's true.
How do you
can
know
look it
that
up
that's
yourself.
true? Where's the source?
So go Google it. Like I said, I can't flip off my screen while I'm on the app. I'm just. On
I mean,
my phone.
you clearly just typed it into ChatGPT, so I want you to tell me what the source that ChatGPT gave you.
No,
I want to know what that source is. You typed it.
Not
Okay, fine. You
typing
typed it into Google and got the Google AI answer.
No.
What's the source?
What's the source? I mean, I can go off the app and look at it real quick.
Yeah, please.
All right, can you still hear me there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So I just went on to Google. Sorry, can you still hear me there?
I can hear you
So
when you come back. Yeah.
I went into Google and I typed in, is there a neutrino measuring device that does not rely on geodetic data? And the conclusive answer is exactly what I told you.
Right. And what's the source?
No.
What's the source?
Just any of the sources on Google. There's like 20 sources.
You know that Google AI is not a source. Google AI will give you a source. I just want to know what the source is.
Sure. Let me copy and paste it for you.
Or just tell me what it is. You can just read it.
Boom, got you a source. And
Okay,
it's,
what's the source?
And it's for Fermilab, which is what you were
Yeah, what's
using.
the source? What's the source?
There you go.
Where did you send it?
I will text it again. I'll keep pasting it until you see it. There you go. There's the source.
Okay, let's go find the source. Okay.
That is the source.
fnal.gov/pub/science/particle physics/experiments. Oh, I thought you said you weren't using ChatGPT. Neutrinos/HTML. Because the link that you sent me had the ChatGPT description at the end.
Yeah, I put it into ChatGPT.
Hey, I just, by the way, this is an awkward and embarrassing. So this is the source that you just sent me, fnal.gov/pub/science/particle physics/experiments/neutrinos.html. I just did a Control F for the word geodetic, and it's nowhere on this page. Did you even check your own source? This is the first law of FLERF. FLERF sources never say what they think it says.
Ooh, type in GPS.
Okay. Nowhere found on this page. Control F. Nowhere on this page.
So it's called Nova at Fermilab.
Nova,
right?
yeah. It says nothing
Nova.
about.
All right.
So just to be clear, you didn't actually read.
No.
You didn't
I want
actually.
you to Google.
To be clear,
you have your screen up in front of everyone.
You didn't actually give me a source,
You're
did
about
you?
to get cooked. You're about to get cooked. You have your
To be
screen
clear,
open for everyone.
I'm about to get cooked when you just lied that the source that you
You-
gave me says something about geodetic or GPS data when it's not anywhere to be found on the page.
You have your computer screen open. For
Why did you
everyone
lie to me?
see. I didn't lie to you.
You said that this is the source that says that there's geodetic data involved and it's nowhere to be found on this webpage.
Yeah, you don't want to make one more click on your page, so I'm telling you.
Okay, so this wasn't the right webpage, so you didn't actually check the webpage.
No, that is the
sounds
right
like what you're telling
webpage.
me?
You can absolutely get it from that same page. But I'm saying all you have to do is just Google it. So it's Nova at Fermilab. Does Nova at Fermilab rely on
By the way, the
GPS
experiment I'm talking about is not Nova. It's called Minos.
So you're saying it's not relying on Nova?
It's not the Nova experiment. No, it's called Minos. By the way, Minos does use the GPS, but only to compute distances, not to compute the local vertical.
Okay, so then Google it for Nova. Does Nova use GPS
it's not
data?
Nova. We're not talking about Nova. We're talking about Minos.
Okay, Minos, you just admitted uses GPS data.
It uses GPS to figure out distances, not the local vertical.
Okay, so you just admitted that it uses GPS data.
Yeah, to figure out the distance between the source and the target, right? But it doesn't use GPS to figure out the vertical.
That ruins everything.
It literally doesn't. You agreed. Look, so the claim that you need in order to justify your claim is that somehow the local vertical assumes the globe Earth, but the local vertical doesn't do that. The GPS data is only to calculate distances, not to calculate what the local vertical is that they use to measure angles against. That's what you're confused by.
I'm not confused. You're the one who seems to be confused.
Because look, the local. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong thing. The local local vertical doesn't rely.
You just said, but
the
I know,
local,
but your
the local vertical doesn't rely on GPS.
You just said, and I quote, you just said, yes, you said, yes, it does. And it only uses GPS data to compute distances. That's the entire thing that we're talking about.
No, it's not. So GPS is used to compute this distance here.
Yes.
I didn't even draw it yet. It's used to compute this distance between the target and the source and the target.
Right.
Right. It has nothing to do with the actual local vertical at the target.
And GPS relies on what? The fact that the Earth is what? A globe.
Regardless of what the distance is, suppose that the GPS is fake. Suppose that it's all fake news, that the Earth is actually flat, and that the GPS is just a lie. It doesn't matter what this distance is. The point stands that this angle is still detected using the local vertical. It doesn't rely on GPS.
Okay, but it uses GPS.
Not for that angle, no.
So
GPS is not involved in that computation. It's used for the distance between the source and the detector.
Right, which completely changes the entire vector of the downward angle that you're talking about.
It literally doesn't.
No,
it literally doesn't. There's no implication of GPS used to figure out what angle the neutrinos are moving at.
And where's your source for that?
Oh, we can go look at the technical manual if you want.
Sure.
The technical design report. Sorry, let me pull it up. Here's the technical design report.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to go look at the
Type in GPS.
upward going muons, 213.
Yeah, and then type in GPS.
Why are we going to type in GPS when that's not when we're looking for just the upward? I mean, like, we agree that GPS is used to figure out the distance between the source and the detector. That's not the relevant part.
That is actually entirely relevant.
It's not relevant for the angle. It's not relevant for the angle. That's the part that you're missing.
No, but it's relevant for the detection of the neutrino that's
It's not relevant for the angle, and that's the thing that's important here. Why are you dodging this? The angle is the relevant factor here.
So you're saying that the GPS...
The distance is completely irrelevant.
Wow. Well, then how is the distance irrelevant when we're measuring the distance? How far the
we're not measuring the distance. We're measuring the angle of detection.
Okay, the angle of detection, right?
That's that's not the distance between the source and the detector. It's completely unrelated.
Right, but you agree that there's a presumed distance between the
sure,
detector.
And that distance could be totally wrong. It doesn't matter for the argument that I'm making.
Okay.
You need to talk about the angle. The FAR detector. Here we go. You need to explain why it is that the FAR detector detects them coming up at an angle.
Right.
Here's the FAR detector.
And like I said before, if we're
Here's the
using
detector.
Yeah. You're proving the same thing. And then you're going to search for GPS after this, right?
GPS isn't relevant here. The GPS is used for the distances, not for the angle.
Right. So the distance, it doesn't matter at all.
No, it doesn't matter at all. Not for the argument that I'm making.
Okay, so the distance could be 0?
Well, I mean, we know that they're not, like, on top of each other, right?
Right.
Like, the distance could be off by 100 miles and it wouldn't matter.
Right, so there has to be some amount of distance, right?
Well, I mean, they just can't be on top of each other.
Right, so even if they're next to each other.
But wait, to be clear, you agree that they are distant from each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what the distance is. They're in different states.
Okay.
So they're in different states, and the detector picks them going up at an angle.
Okay. Assuming what?
Assuming the local vertical.
Right, which for me is relative, and for you is absolute. For me, it's relative to the perpendicular
you understand
surface.
that we can measure the local vertical just with a level, right?
Yeah, and on flat Earth, it's a lot simpler because it's just down.
You just need
a
level.
Absolute.
I mean, you need to use a level too.
Okay, but for you, it's absolute because you are using the geodetic data that's inherently
No, we're not using the geodetic data.
MINO system.
Ah, okay.
You're using the MINO system, right?
Hold on. I found the relevant text.
Okay, perfect.
So this is the this is the emitter, not the detector, but it's going to be the same geometry. The structure conforms to Fermilab engineering standards. The support includes bookend structures which constrain the first plane of each supermodule to be plumb. Plumb means using a plumb line in the vertical orientation and square to the support rails. So they are using they are using a plumb line, or likely a more sophisticated version of a plumb line. They're not using geodetic data to produce that.
Okay,
in fact, here's another bit. Here's another bit that they used. Here's another bit that explains it.
Okay,
The bookend is adjusted to be square in the direction of the rails and plumb with local gravity. That means that they're using literally like a bubble level.
Okay, perfect.
They're not using GPS.
And just want to tell you too, just because this is like kind of hilarious that you're using this as an argument. You know, ChatGPT 100% believes that the Earth is a globe. This is actually.
I don't care about ChatGPT. Why are we using ChatGPT?
No, I know. I'm saying.
Can you actually make the argument here? Can you actually respond to the argument I'm making? Okay, then respond.
Yeah, sure.
Why? So we agree that it is now confirmed how they figured out what vertical is. They didn't use geodetic data. They used a plumb line, also known as a level, or they could have used a level, but they used relative to local gravity. And that local vertical is how they compute what they compute the angle with respect to. So that means that they're not using geodetic data. They're using local vertical. And so
right. So
it is now irrefutable that this diagram shows them coming up with respect to the local vertical. If the Earth were truly flat, then this angle would be with respect to the local vertical. So why are they angled up here and they're angled down here?
So you just proved that the down plumb line angling slightly downward does not prove the curvature of the Earth or that it's flat.
Can you just respond to the question at all? Like, this is getting to be super bad faith. You haven't even offered a potential explanation for why the neutrinos are emitted at a downward angle with respect to local vertical and then are detected at an upward angle with respect to local vertical. You haven't responded to that once, and I've been begging you to respond to it.
I am. This is the response.
Okay. How do the same neutrinos that start out going down at an angle, assume the Earth is flat? Assuming the Earth is flat, how are neutrinos that go down at an angle initially end up going up at an angle when they're detected?
Because you are describing two locally defined vertical frames. You're describing the alignment
and they're the same on a flat Earth, right?
Vertical frames.
They're the same on a flat Earth, right?
They're the same on the flat Earth or a globe. Two locally defined vertical frames.
Right. So we have a vertical here. We have a vertical here and a vertical here. On a flat Earth, these are the same lines. They're parallel to each other.
Right.
So how is it that you have something that's initially down and then ends up going up?
Right. Exactly.
How does the angle change? How does the angle change? What's the mechanism? You didn't answer it. You just said something about local verticals, but that doesn't address why the angle changes.
That's why the angle changes, because you are just proving alignment between two locally defined vertical frames. The down plumb lines curving downwards does not indicate
there's nothing
curvature.
curving downwards.
How do you understand that? Yeah,
what's curving downwards?
Now you agree with me.
What's curving? Look, there's a local vertical. A local vertical doesn't have, like, the local vertical is just the local vertical, right? On a flat Earth, the local verticals are the same, and so the angles measured with respect to them changes. If the angle here is different from the angle here, then you need some sort of explanation for why the angle changes if these two lines are initially parallel.
No, why do I need you need an explanation
because I've been asking you for 25 minutes.
I'm asking you. I'm saying that.
Why are you dodging the question? Can you not? Can you just, like, be honest for once and just answer the question and offer an explanation?
Yes, I just
okay.
did.
So what is the explanation? Okay, look, we have now gone over all of the data and conclusively shown
here's my explanation.
that the angle.
I'll say my answer one last time.
Sure.
I'll say my answer one last time, and then
I'm sure it's going to be a non-answer.
No, it's not. What you just described is the alignment of two vertical frames. That's all you described. So you're saying
the alignment. Can you explain? Can you elaborate on that? What does that mean?
Yes. So the downward plumb lines that you're using to describe this, right? You're
saying so the downward plumb lines are these black lines, right?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Continue.
Okay. And you're saying that they curve down slightly.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm assuming the Earth is flat.
Okay, so you're assuming that the Earth is
flat. And these plumb lines are parallel to one another. Right? That's what would be true if the Earth were flat, right?
Yes. And then the yellow lines.
The yellow lines are measured with respect. The yellow lines, well, they're angled down. Like, when you say curve, it makes it sound like they're, like, curvy, but, like, they're just angled down. We know the angle that they're emitted at. We know the angle that they're detected at, right?
Okay. And so on the left, you have one locally defined vertical frame, and on the right side, you have one locally defined vertical frame.
And those are the same because the Earth is flat, right?
So this is right. And so this is my final answer. I'm not going to say it again. You have proved alignment between two locally defined vertical frames. That is all you did.
So you're saying that the locally defined vertical frames are these black lines, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The one on the right.
So the question is, for the same object, and you still haven't answered it. For the same object, we can measure an angle here, and then we can go back and we can measure an angle here, right? Yep. If those are the same verticals, then we would expect. If they're the same object, then we would expect that the angle would stay the same. But the angle doesn't. The angle is bigger than 90 degrees here, and it's less than 90 degrees here. So yes, saying that these are the same local verticals, how does that explain the change in the angle?
So you're saying that it does angle downwards.
So look, like, this is more than 90 degrees, right? This is, like, slightly more than 90 because the horizontal with respect to the vertical would be like this angle. So this is more than 90 degrees, so it's angled slightly downwards. And then over here, we have the horizontal. So here, it's angled slightly upwards. It's not a full 90 degrees. So how does the angle go from slightly more than 90 degrees to slightly less than 90 degrees? That's the question. And maybe this is, like, a language barrier thing. Why is that angle different?
Because that local vertical frame on the left and the local vertical frame on the right are relative to themselves.
Yeah, but they're the same vertical, right?
Right. So obviously that doesn't prove a dang thing.
Look, I'm just gonna grab this and paste it and just ask, like, why is it that, like, if this is the same vertical, right? It's the same vertical, it's the same horizontal. Why are the angles different? Like,
so this goes back to what I was saying in the beginning.
Look, one would expect, say the detector was here, right? One would expect that they would detect it coming in down, right?
Right, and then this goes
but
back
they
to
don't.
now we're going
But
into
they
the
don't.
circular argument. So
They don't go
do you want me
down.
to answer the question? Do you want me
See
to
how
answer
the
the question?
see how the angle is like the same angle as it is over here? This angle is the same, but somehow when they're
Right.
detected over here, it's a different angle.
Right, and do you want me to answer why that is?
Yes, I've been begging for it.
Okay, because the thing that is picking up the neutrinos on the other end is the measuring device, right? And we
Yeah.
just went over how Minos, Nova, all these things that we're using to detect these neutrinos rely on inherent geodetic data, like either GPS
Hold
or
on. So
geodetic data.
are you saying that the local vertical is actually tilted?
I'm saying that the geodetic system that it uses, whether it's GPS or just regular geodetic data, whether it's
No,
one
they're
of the
not.
two,
No,
it's
they're using a plumb
assuming-
line.
Right.
So it's the same
but they're
vertical. So
using a plumb line.
it's just with respect to local vertical.
Right.
Look,
I'm not talking
look,
about the plumb line. I'm talking about the actual measuring device.
That's how they measure the
they're
angle. The way that they measure the angle is using the plumb line.
We mentioned Minos. We mentioned Nova,
Okay.
and both of
We have
them
reset.
rely inherently.
No, they
inherently
don't. We just looked at the manual where they tell us that they used, like the technical design report rather, where they tell us that they use plumb. They use a plumb line to determine the local vertical. So
Okay,
on a
and
flat
you
Earth, the
yourself
plumb would be at this angle. The plumb would be at this angle here, right? It would be straight up and down on a flat Earth. And so relative to that straight up and down on a flat Earth, the angle is less than 90 degrees. But somehow over here, the angle is greater than 90 degrees. They're
Yes,
just using
and
a
like I
plumb.
said-
This is just a thing hanging straight down. That's how they're figuring out what the
Right.
vertical is.
So why do you think I care about talking about the plumb? I don't care about that. I'm
That's how
talking
they
about
figured out the
device.
angle. The plumb is with respect to the plumb, or the angle is with respect to the plumb, not with respect to some geodetic data.
Yeah, and exactly. And without a measuring device, we'd have no way to know any of that, right? So I'm saying that the
What?
measuring device itself.
The measuring device's orientation is determined by the plumb line.
Right. Yes. And the measuring device
the
is
measuring device is measuring with respect to the plumb line. It's not measuring with respect to some GPS or whatever. It's measuring with respect to the plumb line.
okay, but I'm saying you're like, why is there an angle here, and why is the angle not the same angle on the other end? Right, because
But they're measured with respect to the same vertical.
Because Minos and Nova are using a geodetic system and
No,
also
it's the same
and/or
vertical. It's the
GPS.
same vertical. Whether or not the Earth is flat or a globe, it's the same vertical, right? Actually, well,
Okay, it's the
if the
same
Earth is flat,
vertical.
it's the same vertical, which means that the angle is with respect to the same thing. So there's no trickery here. It's not like the angle is like shooting off at this direction. The angle is the same angle. So why is the angle changing? The vertical's not changing.
The angle is, yes, the angle is changing because we are assuming using Minos or using Nova, we're assuming that the Earth is a globe. So that's why it's a circular argument. We're starting off
this is unrelated. All you need is the plumb angle or the plumb vertical. That's all you need.
And we're still like I feel like this is just like a circular argument because we're just not agreeing upon I mean the one thing that we did agree
You just don't
upon is
understand,
that,
right? Or actually, no, you
is
do
that-
understand. You're just being dishonest.
No. Well, no, the one thing that we do agree upon, right, is that you said that Minos uses GPS data.
Only
So we
for
agreed
distance
upon that.
finding. Only for distance finding,
Yeah,
not for angle finding. And the angle
Right,
finding
what
is the
is
only
G-
relevant thing.
And what does GPS assume? That the Earth is what? A globe. So we're starting off using
but
a measuring device.
But that's irrelevant for angle finding. It's just irrelevant.
It's very relevant. It's very relevant for what.
No,
we're
it's
trying to
literally
measure.
not. The angle is determined using local vertical. It's not. Doesn't use GPS at all.
Okay, but it also uses geodetic data other than GPS.
Not,
and the
not,
geodetic
for, not
data
for the angle. The angle data doesn't use
and
that
the
at all.
geodetic data is assumes that the Earth is a globe. Also,
None
So
of that is
whether you're
none
using
of, none of that is used for the angle calculation. It's just not used. It's not relevant.
Okay.
The angle calculation relies on local plumb, which is the direction that down is.
Yeah.
And so no geodetic data is required in order to figure out what direction down is. They just used a plumb line.
It's okay. So that you're saying that there's no geodetic data or GPS data that's required to receive.
Not to measure the angle.
actual
No.
measurement?
Not to measure the angle.
Well, to measure the angle or to receive the measurement of the
no,
neutrino.
not to measure the angle at all.
To measure anything. To measure
No.
either the neutrinos or to
No.
measure the angle. Either
No.
one of the two. You need.
No.
Okay. So then why even have
the
geodetic
detector
data or
is just
GPS data
the
at all?
detect because they need to know the distance between them quite precisely for the actual experiment that they're trying to do. But that's not relevant for the fact that they measured neutrino. They do measure neutrinos. It doesn't matter how far away it is. They do measure neutrinos, and they measure neutrinos coming up at an angle that doesn't require any sort of GPS information at all.
Okay.
So at this point, like, I'm convinced you're just being dishonest. Like, this is like embarrassingly dishonest, and everybody who's watching, all like several thousand people, can see it.
Yeah, I mean, but what part of it's dishonest? How am I being dishonest? I'm just coming
the part
fast.
that the part that you keep saying that the angle relies on geodetic data when it clearly doesn't, and I showed you the document that proves that it doesn't.
Okay, and where you're being dishonest is you're saying that the geodetic data and or GPS data has nothing to do with the measurement of these neutrinos.
It has nothing to do with the measurement of the angle of the neutrinos, which is the only relevant fact.
Okay, but the angle of the neutrinos is also relevant to the distance that they are traveling.
No, it's really not. Like
it's really not?
They don't have to know anything about the distance in order to measure the angle.
Okay, but that's dishonest.
They don't have to know
You're
anything
saying that
about. No, they just don't. Like, measuring an angle is independent of how far away the source is. You just measure an angle, and that's the angle.
You have to have distance to measure an angle. So now you're being dishonest.
No, you don't. At least not distance. Not distance to the emitter.
How do you not have to have distance to measure an angle? This is like basic math.
You don't need the distance to the emitter, right?
Okay, but we still
and
need
that's the thing that uses GPS. The distance to the emitter is what uses GPS. You just need, if you want to measure the angle of something, you can just get out a protractor, right?
Yeah.
And so we can just use a protractor. Here's the data. I'll show it to you again. Where'd it go? Wait, that's not it. Where'd it go? Here. Where'd it go? I didn't close. Did I close out of it? Where'd it go? Oh, I just minimized it. My bad. Here it is. Where was it? 1 sec. I just need to pull up the actual angle data. It's section 5 or figure 5. Here it is. You can just get out a protractor and measure this angle.
Okay.
That's all you need. You can just measure the angle. Measure the angle of the green arrow.
Okay, and what does that prove?
That's the angle of the neutrinos.
Okay, and like I said, so we'll just go back to the lie that you just said, because you didn't admit that you just lied. You said that there's no distance needed in order to...
Yeah, you don't need to measure a distance in order to get out a protractor and stick it on the screen.
Okay, but then what is the protractor measuring? If
it's measuring an angle.
Distance?
Measuring
an angle from what to what?
It's measuring the angle of this green line.
Right, from what to what?
From the end of the green line to the front of the green line. You don't need to know how long that line is. You don't need to know how
the distance.
That distance is irrelevant. It's not useful for the actual angle data.
So even if the distance is negligible, there's still a distance.
No, it's not that it's negligible. It's that it's irrelevant.
Okay,
like
it's irrelevant.
The length of the arrow doesn't inform on the angle of the arrow.
Okay, so
these are different. These are different quantities, right?
Yeah. Okay. So this is like basic geometry. Like if you know the shape.
Yeah, you're right. It is basic geometry. You can calculate an angle using distance, but you don't need distances to measure an angle. You can just literally use a protractor.
Okay. You use a protractor between what?
Between this point here, the end of the arrow, and the tip of the arrow.
Okay. And what? So you have one, which is the plumb line. The plumb line is the only constant, right? So we have the plumb line, and then we have the neutrinos that are being fired out.
Yeah.
The neutrinos are traveling a certain amount of
distance. The plumb line is in this direction. It's on the vertical.
Correct.
And so you can calculate with a protractor what this angle is with respect to the vertical.
Okay. And then when you fire out, cool. And then when you fire out the neutrino, how do you know which angle the neutrino is being fired?
You get a protractor and you hold it up to the screen.
Okay. Right.
Oh wait. So sorry. You said what angle they're being fired at? You can get a protractor and hold it up to the emitter.
Okay,
or you could take a picture and hold it up to the emitter if you want.
So you have a protractor, you hold it up to the emitter, right? You know the angle of which they're being fired at.
Well, that angle, the angle that they're being fired at, you can figure out with a protractor.
Okay, so you can figure that out with a protractor. But then you're saying the angle that they're being fired at on the other end isn't the same angle.
They're not being fired at the other end. They're being detected at the other end.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. If they're being detected at the other end,
yeah. So you have a protractor here. You can measure the angle that they're being fired at with respect to the vertical using a protractor. You get about 3 degrees down with respect to the vertical, so it's about 93 degrees off of the vertical. And then when you go and you do the same thing with respect to the same vertical, because we're assuming the Earth is flat, right? You get about slightly less than 3 degrees pointing up, so it's about 87 or 88 degrees. So why did it go from 93 degrees with respect to the vertical to 88 degrees with respect to the vertical?
Right, and what I'm saying is that right, and I'm saying that Right. So the absolute, we're both agree. So let's break it down to where we disagree. So we both agree that the plumb line is a constant. And we both agree that the neutrinos, the angle that the neutrinos are being fired out of, we both agree that that angle can be measured. We're in agreement so far.
With respect to
we're in
local
total
vertical,
agreement.
right?
Right. So we're in a total agreement so
We're in
far.
total agreement that
Yeah.
and let's just go back to the diagram. We're in total agreement that this angle can be measured and it's more than 90 degrees.
Yes, 100%. So that angle can be measured, right?
More
The plumb
than 90
line
degrees.
is a constant. Line is a constant. We agree on that. Okay, now where we get to our big
now we go over
disagreement
to the
that we're having
detector.
here. Yes, exactly.
And then
So
we
now
ask,
the
well, what angle do we measure the detector with respect to a plumb line? So you just hang it. You can just hang like a weight from a string that gives you the vertical, and then you can measure the angle with respect to that vertical.
Okay, and how do we know what the angle is that they're coming back at being received at on the other end? How do we know?
That's the data that I just showed you.
Right, exactly. And so I'm saying
it's right here. This is the data.
Detector. Right.
Yeah. So the vertical line is the plumb line.
Right.
And the green arrow is the detection angle.
Right. So with
respect to the plumb line, it's like 88 degrees.
So our disagreement is on where these neutrinos are being picked up on the opposite end, because I am saying
it's not where, it's the angle. The where is irrelevant. It's the angle. So look, let me just take a screenshot of this because maybe this will help.
Yeah.
So here we have the plumb line is here. Sorry, let me make this a little bit thicker. The plumb line is here, right? Oh, sorry, hold on, you can't see this. The plumb line is this black line here.
Yes.
And we can measure this angle. Just get out a protractor and measure it. You can just measure this angle here. And that angle is less than 90 degrees, right?
Okay. Yeah, so like this is literally what I'm saying.
This angle is more than 90 degrees.
Right.
This angle is less than 90 degrees, but it's the same plumb line. So why does the angle change?
Exactly and I'll explain exactly why the angle changes.
Please.
Okay. And this is for every one of the viewers for final analysis of like the final answer of why the angle is different on the opposite end. Okay?
Please.
Because some people don't understand how neutrinos work. Let's just use a flashlight. If you fire a flashlight downward at an angle, okay, the same thing. We're just like, where one person is, at an elevated level, they're going to shine a flashlight down. And we have a photon detector on the other end that is detecting the angle of the photons that are being received at the other end. But the detector that is detecting the photons is operating on an assumption that light just bends around a ball, which obviously we know it doesn't. Light just fires out straight unless it's refracted.
Sorry, I don't understand how this analogy is analogous.
Because
why are we assuming anything? No, so in this experiment, the only thing we have to know is that neutrinos don't bend at all. They don't diffract.
Okay, but of course they don't. But what I'm saying, neither does light. That's why it's a great.
Well, I mean, of course, light diffracts. Like that's what lenses do.
Light diffracts, but I'm saying in an environment where there's no, atmospheric attenuation, where the light is allowed to travel freely the way that it's supposed to, right? It will travel straight. The photons will travel straight, just like the neutrinos are traveling straight. Correct. Yeah. If I have a measuring device that is measuring either the neutrinos or measuring light, and the measuring device that I'm using is operating on the assumption that either neutrinos bend or light bends, then obviously we are going to have, a very big discrepancy with our answer here.
Where in the detector is there an assumption that neutrinos bend?
You yourself admitted that the MINOS system, uses GPS data.
Sorry,
which is
where in the detector? Where in the detector? The detector doesn't use GPS.
The detector, all detectors use geodetic data. Okay. The geodetic
Where's
data
the proof?
has
The detector uses a plumb line. Where is the proof that the detector uses GPS?
Okay, well, you admitted that MINOS uses GPS. I'm saying even if you're going to go on to like
GPS, MINOS uses GPS, but not in the detector. It uses it to figure out the distance between the detector and the emitter. There's no like GPS machine in the detector, right?
Okay.
There's no. It's just using satellites to figure out how far away these two things are from each other.
Okay, perfect. And if that's all it's using.
So there's no assumptions about neutrinos bending anywhere.
Okay, but I'm saying if you have the detector that is in one place, and then you have the transmitter that is in another place, and you assume that we live on a globe,
assumed.
In order for it to,
you don't need to assume it for this. You don't need to assume it at all.
Okay, Okay, but now you're starting to be dishonest because you're basically trying to say that, you know, the detector itself does not in any way, shape, or form use geodetic data to assume that we live on a globe.
Yeah, it does.
That's
I mean, like,
dishonest.
look, the detector is just a thing, right? It's just a big block of basically crystal in this case. And the neutrinos are going to come in at whatever angle they're going to come in at. And it just happens to be that the neutrinos are coming in upwards. They're coming in upwards, right?
So basically what
there's no like this is so like obvious, right? Like if you could see these things, you'd have to look down to see them.
Yeah, so what we've concluded is that this is a very high level of confirmation bias. We're looking for neutrinos
literally none.
that are
literally the detectors, the neutrinos, you'd have to look down to see them.
Right.
Not straight across, you'd have to look down. There's no assumption there. That's just what the machine does.
Right, and the machine is assuming where down is, and down is relative to what it thinks down is.
Yeah, it uses a plumb line for that, not geodetic data.
Right, and where the detector assumes that down is going to be different if it's assuming that we live on a globe, which is what it's doing.
They're literally just using a plumb line.
Okay, and then
it doesn't make any assumptions for the vertical. It doesn't make any assumptions for the vertical.
Right, so like I said, you'd have to prove without a shadow of a doubt with some type of source that shows that the geodetic data and or GPS and
I already showed you in the source how they figure out what the vertical is. They use a plumb line.
Right.
I already showed you.
They use the plumb line is not what I'm talking about because that is the
plumb line is how you figure out the vertical. That's how they figure out the vertical. So they don't use the geodetic to figure out the vertical. They don't use the geodetic data for the vertical. They use a plumb line. And so there's no geodetic data that's being used to figure out the angle at all.
Yes, it is. It's the absolute downward line of the plumb line. So the downward line of the plumb line is an absolute. It's an absolute. It's basically an absolute reference to what down is. You're using an absolute reference. They're just
using what down is. Whatever down is, they're just using that.
Yes, an absolute reference to what down is, because down and an absolute reference means down on a sphere.
I don't know what you mean by I don't know what you mean by absolute reference. Look, you can just hold up a piece of string with a weight at the bottom, right?
Yes. So a relative
and that's just what they mean by down. It's just the direction that string hangs in.
And that is there we go. There's
no assumption of this. There's no assumption of the shape of the Earth for a plumb line.
You're combining two theories. You're combining flat Earth and globe.
I'm not combining anything. I'm completely agnostic for the sake of this argument. I'm completely agnostic about the shape of the Earth. The point is you take a string, you attach a weight to the bottom, and you hang it. That gives you vertical, and then from that vertical you can measure angles, and that's what that green line is. It's an angle with respect to the vertical.
That's called relative down. That's not absolute.
There's no relative. There's no absolute. It's just vertical. There is a vertical that you can figure out using a plumb line, and the neutrinos make a certain angle with the vertical when they leave, and they make a certain angle with the vertical when they're emitted or when they're detected. Okay. And if the Earth is flat, those two verticals are the same angle. And so if they were just wrong, if the Earth is actually flat and not a globe, then they would find that those neutrinos should be coming in downwards.
Okay, but these are two
with respect to the same vertical.
These are two independent reference
but if the Earth is flat, then that plumb line downward is the same between both places.
No, it wouldn't be the same between both places.
Wait a minute. So you think that even on a flat Earth, plumb lines can point in different directions?
No, I'm saying that on a flat Earth, it can only point one direction. It can only point relative down, which is relative to the perpendicular.
If the Earth is flat, the plumb line. If the Earth is flat, then the plumb lines will be the same here and here. Right,
but we're starting off.
And yet they measure different angles.
Right, and I'm starting off.
So they get different angles. They get different angles despite having the same plumb line, which means that the angle must have changed.
Yeah, but you're confusing your viewers because you keep trying to make everyone under this illusion that the relative, that the down line, the plumb line. No, this is dishonest. What you're doing is because you're trying to confuse everyone into thinking that you're talking about relative down.
No,
you're saying it's just straight down. No, you're talking about absolute down.
No, they're just measuring relative to whatever the local vertical is.
Okay, yeah, but the local vertical. Are you talking about relative down? Was that what you're talking about?
I don't know what you mean by relative down and absolute down. Look, there is a local vertical. There is a local vertical.
Relative down means that I am standing on a flat Earth and I put a stake into the ground and it is going straight down relative to the fact that the Earth is flat and perpendicular. Okay,
you don't have to use the shape of the Earth. You just need what vertical is, which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to the direction that things fall in.
Right, vertical.
To the direction that things fall in. They're just measuring relative to the direction that things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to the direction that things fall in. They're just measuring relative to the direction that things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring relative to which direction things fall in. They're just measuring
Right, vertical to a perpendicular surface, correct?
No, it's just you could be in midair, not even know what direction the ground is in, and you could still drop a plumb line and figure out what direction down is.
Okay, and that plumb line is on, if you were saying it's absolute down, then it is going to be at an angle. Because if you believe that the Earth is a sphere,
what is absolute down? What is absolute down relative down? Look, there is. Do we agree that down is that on a flat Earth, down is the same direction everywhere?
I do. You don't.
Okay,
you think
so
that
on a flat Earth, down is the same direction everywhere. If the Earth is flat, then down is the same direction everywhere, which means that the plumb line here, this plumb line, is in the same orientation as this plumb line if the Earth was actually flat. So assume the Earth is actually flat, then those two plumb lines are oriented the same way. And the angles of the neutrinos relative to those plumb lines change. But because the angles are because those plumb lines are oriented the same direction, and the angles change, it must be that the direction of the neutrinos change, not the plumb lines, because on a flat Earth model, the plumb lines are pointing in the same direction.
But you're cherry picking your argument here, because you're saying that they're both pointing straight down. How can they both be possibly pointing straight down
on a flat Earth? That they must be.
No, on a flat Earth, sure, but I'm saying
and so that, like, this is okay. Maybe you don't understand. This is a proof by contradiction. If you assume the Earth is flat, then these two plumb lines are pointing in the same direction. So when they measure these angles, it's with respect to the same direction, what you would call down, relative down, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's with respect to the same direction. And so then you measure the angle with respect to those directions, and you get 93 degrees on this side, and you get 88 degrees on this side with respect to the same vertical. And so if it's with respect to if the Earth is flat and the angles change, or if the Earth is flat, then the plumb lines are the same direction. And if the angles change, because the plumb lines are the same direction, the only thing that can cause the angles to change is if the neutrinos change direction, not if because on a flat Earth the plumb lines don't change direction.
Okay, so then you have to be honest about this one thing. The only angle that is an absolute measurement that you can measure for sure is the transmitter side. You can measure the angle of the transmitter side perfectly. We both agree on that. But
why can't you measure the angle on the detector side?
Because the detector side is using, it doesn't matter whether you're using Minos or Nova, they're all using geodetic data.
Measuring the angle is just relative to the plumb. It's the exact, measuring the angle on the detector side is the exact same as measuring the angle on the emitter side.
Okay,
except the exact same. You use the exact same piece of data. You just use a plumb line, and then a protractor.
Okay, but we went over this whole circle before where you said that you didn't need to know the distance on the transmitter side.
You don't need to know the distance in either place. You don't need to know the distance in either place to measure this angle. Look, you understand that that you can measure an angle with respect to a plumb line without knowing anything about distance. You just use a protractor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so all you need to do is you hang a string, put a weight on the end, and then you line up that string, or you can just hang the string, and then you just put a protractor on that string, and then you look at the detection angle, and it'll be at some angle with respect to that string. So you put the string on the 0 degrees on the protractor, and then you just look at like wherever, sorry, it would be like this way, whichever way the detection is. And so you have your string, and now you just detect it in a direction. It's either down or it's up or it's horizontal, whatever it is, you'll detect an angle. There's no geodetic anything involved there. It's just a plumb line, and it's, the unsophisticated version is just a plumb line with a weight on a string, and you measure an angle relative to it. That's it. No geodetic anything.
Exactly. Yeah, but like I said, you're cherry picking both sides.
On both sides, you're measuring it in the exact same way.
Okay, so but we're saying that basically we're in 100% agreement on the left side of this. Right?
They're the same. They're identical. Measuring the angles, you do it in the exact same way on both sides.
Okay, but if you were on a globe, wouldn't both of those poles being pointed?
We're assuming that we're on a flat Earth.
Okay.
For the sake of this is an internal critique. We're assuming we're on a flat Earth. On a flat Earth, so those two plumb lines are the same.
We're on a flat Earth.
Assume we're on a flat Earth. Yeah.
Right, assume we're on a flat Earth. That we're on a flat Earth.
And assume that the GPS stuff is completely made up. Okay. Assume it's completely made up. It's just fabricated by the Rothschilds or something, right? It's just all a big lie. The GPS is all just a big lie. So, but you can but regardless of what the Rothschilds tell you, you can still measure this angle. Yeah. You just hang a plumb line and then you get it a protractor, you measure the angle. You get like 93 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Then you go over here.
Okay.
and you hang a plumb line. You look at your detector. You hang a plumb line, and then you measure the angle, and you get like 88 degrees.
Sure.
Okay. So it's the same mechanism in both cases. You're measuring an angle with respect to the vertical, with respect to a plumb line.
Yep.
And if the Earth is flat, those plumb lines point in the same direction. And we're assuming the Earth is flat. So somehow, even though the plumb lines point in the same direction, somehow, because the plumb lines are pointing in the same direction, yet the angle is different with respect to the plumb lines, somehow that must mean that the neutrinos are changing direction.
No, yeah, because both plumb lines are facing directly down relative to the perpendicular surface of the Earth, because we're assuming that the Earth is flat.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so because since we're assuming that the Earth is flat, let's just go ahead and use a measuring device to detect the neutrinos that assumes that the Earth is a globe. That is just the most insane thing.
You're just using a detector is just a piece of crystal, and just lights flash, and you can use those. You can use where those lights flash to reconstruct the angle that the neutrino was moving in, and then you can measure the angle of that neutrino with respect to a plumb line. It doesn't require any assumptions about the shape of the Earth.
Okay, but if it doesn't require any assumptions about the shape of the Earth, then why does it use geodetic information, including GPS?
Yeah, so the actual experiment that they're running is not about measuring the shape of the Earth. The measurement that they're running, or the experiment that they're running, is trying to measure something with regards to like neutrino oscillations, and that requires precision distance. But if we're just talking about these angles, it's completely irrelevant. The detector isn't oriented in a certain way based off of the shape of the Earth, based off of assumptions. You can just use a plumb line, and that plumb line will then let you measure angles with respect to it. You can just hold up a protractor to this plumb line, which is the same as that plumb line over here. Just hold up a protractor, and then you just measure the angle of these neutrinos.
Right, and we've already gone through the whole entire proof of proving that there is no such thing as a measuring device that can measure neutrinos that doesn't rely on GPS and or.
By the way, you never offered any evidence of. You never offered any of that. Where would the GPS data be involved here? In measuring this angle, where would the GPS data be involved?
Because it was like the same thing as I gave the analogy with the photons. It doesn't matter whether the neutrinos or photons, if they're measuring from a device that is assuming curvature.
Where is the assumption of curvature involved in the detection angle?
Either in the geodetic data itself that assumes that
maybe you don't know how these detections work. You basically have a big block of crystal. Stuff travels through that crystal. Sometimes,
I understand how it works. Yeah.
Sometimes that stuff will knock into things and it'll give off light.
Yep.
Right. And so, in fact, that's what all of these purple dots are. These are the locations of the light flashes. And from the locations of the light flashes, you can reconstruct what direction the thing was traveling in. It's just fairly straightforward math. And so you don't need that just gives you a direction that the neutrino is traveling in. It's just traveling in this direction. Where is the assumptions? Where is the imposition of geodetic data in that kind of reconstruction?
Okay, and then you'd have to prove that the downward angle is not being assumed without a spherical Earth.
What downward angle?
The downward angle of the plumb line.
The plumb line is it's literally you attach a weight to a string and that gives you down. There's no assumptions in that. It's just you hang a weight from a string and the direction of the line is down.
Right.
That's what a plumb line is.
Right, which is a different direction.
If the Earth is flat, then those directions are the same.
Right, regardless of where you are. Which is a completely different direction than relative down. So because you believe that
if the Earth is a sphere, then those two plumb lines are in different directions. You're right. They differ by about 6 degrees, which is why the angle appears to change by about 6 degrees. But if the Earth is flat, those plumb lines are in the same direction, which means that it must be the neutrinos that are changing their angle rather than the plumb line which is changing its angle.
Okay, so you basically
I don't know why this is so hard.
Because you basically believe 100% in the actual measuring device is measuring the neutrinos and the angle that it's
the angle is you can literally measure the angle with a protractor, right?
Okay.
There's no geodetic stuff required to measure the angle here.
Okay, so you believe, and this is where it gets insane, is you believe that these two plumb lines would be, let's say one plumb line is in New York City and one of them's in Hong Kong. You believe that those two plumb lines would be completely opposite of each other, facing totally different directions?
Yeah, they would be pointing in different directions. Yeah, but on a flat Earth, they wouldn't be. On a flat Earth, they would be pointing in the same direction. And yet, somehow, you haven't offered how on a flat Earth, Despite these if the Earth was actually flat, these plumb lines are in the same direction. And yet somehow the angle of the neutrinos changes between the two different directions. Okay. You haven't offered an explanation for that. And I think it's because you can't offer an explanation, because you know that that would require somehow the neutrinos bending upward. And clearly that's not a real thing that can happen.
So let me just I'll answer the question. Let me just verify the question. So the question that you're asking me is, you're saying, hey, we have these neutrinos that are being picked up, coming back to the receiver at an angle that is different from the transmitter, right? And you're saying, please disprove, or please prove how that is possible.
I just want an explanation.
That we are using. Right, when you said please prove that, or please provide an explanation, when the measuring device that we are using assumes that the Earth is a globe.
The measuring device doesn't assume that, and at this point, it just sounds like you're being bad faith. The measuring device just assumes local plumb. It just uses uses a plumb line to find local vertical. It absolutely does, and I showed you the technical manual or the technical report that says this.
Yeah, and the technical report that you just pulled up, if you pull it back up again, you can see that it says it does rely on geodetic data.
The technical report explicitly tells you how these things are, and this is wildly dishonest. The report literally tells you that this ensures that the array of planes starts out plumb and square and remains so. The bookend is adjusted to be square to the direction of the rails and plumb with local gravity. That means that they're literally, maybe not literally using a string, but they're using a more sophisticated version of a weight hanging from a string. That's how they're that's how they are working out the orientation. There's no assumptions of geodetic anything here. They're using literally the direction that a weight attached to a string hangs in.
Sure. Yeah, and
so you just lied to me. You just lied to me.
No.
Yeah, you did, and so you're gone. You gonzo. That was like the by the way, hello YouTube. That was clearly one of the most dishonest people I've ever spoken with. That was crazy dishonest. Anyway, that was like almost 2 hours, but it's going up on YouTube, so that'll be good. That wasn't FLERF final boss. That was hard-headed final boss. Like he just couldn't agree that there's no explanation. All right, let's read some super chats. No, he was being dishonest. He wasn't being inept. From Oklahoma, that's funny, with the $2, don't you know, Blitz, you can only use one law a go. Yeah, exactly. You can't use Newton's law, Newton's second law, and Newton's universal law of gravitation. You can't use them both at the same time. From Miko Makopo with the 2 pounds, a mine too open and people will fill it with rubbish. Yep, that's what happened. From Juiced Vandenover with the €2, thanks for the gifted membership, much appreciated. Well, I didn't give it to you. Who did give it to you? Thank you, Eat Some Shorts, for the 10 gifted memberships. From Opto Poppet with the $5, the good old FLERF stack overflow. When will this bug get patched out? No, this is the first law of FLERF. Sorry, this is the second law of FLERF. The FLERF reset is inevitable when they're confronted with data that disagrees with their model. From Tim Davidson with the $5, stop me when I'm wrong. You're wrong. Okay, I'll keep going. Yeah, we were supposed to, he was supposed to stop, right? Wait, what's FLERF again? FLERF means flat earth. It's just a contraction. From Mitchy Chlorians, that's a funny name, with the $2. Tell me where I'm wrong. No, not like that. Yeah, that was a good bit. I don't know why he would ask me to tell him when he's wrong if he didn't want me to stop him. From Simeon Urchin with the $5, I pray for the day FLERFs actually learn the difference between vacuum appliance and the spatial vacuum. We can address buoyancy another day. Look, they really just need to understand that density is not like a force. That's the hard part for them. From Galur with the 400, I think these are Indian rupees. Humans today refusing Earth's shape, some form of Pareto statistics or Zipf's law or Murphy's law or human psychology. Oh, who knows? Who knows? From Glitterlock with the 25 Qatari Rials, thank you so much, Glitterlock. Caller, we all understand the Fermilab to Sudan thing. Yeah, it's really not that complicated. You shoot one thing down and the other thing comes up. Any normal person would realize that that means that, like, It's bending. The thing that's moving is bending between the two. From Magic Rectangle Ent with the $5, flat earthers will continue being generated until billionaires pay negative tax. What? Why? Why? Squidly Tentacles sent a galaxy, which is $5, so thank you so much, Squidly. Binary Ghosts with the $5. Obviously, the neutrinos bounced off of the roof of hell. Hell is at the bottom of the earth, and it had to be able to repel neutrinos to keep souls inside. Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point. From Jack Fetter with the $5. What a cocky prick. Most of your audience won't understand. Sorry, say again, flat earther? Yeah, that was feigned. It was obviously feigned. From Ekipo with the €5. If you can't answer a question, just call the audience stupid. What a muppet. Yeah, I think all of the audience understood, right? From Mr. Lint with the $5. Caller would be better off saying the neutrinos bounced off of the turtle shell. Yeah, he should have. But he really didn't want to answer it. From Bug679 with the $5, the listeners won't understand this. He says as he frantically teacups and runs away from the question. Yeah, he was just using ChatGPT every time he teacupped. That's the embarrassing part. At least when I use an AI to get an overview, I tell people. From Simeon Urchin again with the $5. In my studies and lines of work, I work with GIS, that's Geographic Info Systems, and it's so funny that even simple map making systems prove them wrong. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, like we need to use like a spherical Earth in order to make maps in any sort of accurate way. From Jack Fetter again with the $10. Thank you so much, man. Good lord, that was painful. During the time he was deflecting, I was able to confirm both the KFC secret ingredient and how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop. Yeah, it was rough, right? And it went on for so long. Pat in the chat with the $5. Flurf claims to have cooked Blitz and can't manage to turn the goddamn stove on. Lol. Yeah, we could say that. We could absolutely say that. From Vicinal Elk with the $2. To be honest, I don't know what caller's argument is anymore. I don't know what it was either. I don't know what he was saying that like, oh, well, okay. I think it's just the only way that I could make sense of what he was saying is that somehow the detector assumed that the angle was tilted forward by like 6 degrees because they were assuming it was a globe. But the only way that that would be true is if they didn't actually level it with respect to a plumb, right? Which is what they did. From Literally Lou with the $5 Australian. Appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Lou. Good to see you. From Christopher Sanford with the €2. Ah, but Blitz, have you considered A? I don't get it. I feel like I'm missing something. Vicinal Elk again with the $2. Such a circular argument. It is practically a globe. Yeah, it's such a spherical argument. From Nekdu with the $2.22. Gotta lie to Flurf. Cook him, Dr. Blitz. Oh, he was burnt by the time that we finished. From Tim Davidson with the $2. Angles are 4th grade. Please end this pain. No, never. Are these real comments tips showing up? Yeah, these are real. They were sent on YouTube. From Jack Fetter with the $2. The last hour of my life has no meaning. I'm sorry, but it is good entertainment, I hope. It was at least good enough that like several thousand, like I think like 2,000 people were watching, which is, you know, that's a pretty good number for flat earth debates. Flat earth debates don't usually do that well. Let's see how many people were watching. We had 400 people on the vertical stream on YouTube. We have like, yeah, almost 800 people on the horizontal stream on YouTube, and then like over 1,000 people on TikTok. So that's like over 2,000 people. From Magic Drop with the $5, ChatGPT told me to just keep saying geodetic over and over again. So down doesn't mean down. Yeah, look, we all agree on what down is. The question is whether or not down here is the same as down there. From Eustace Page, that's a good name, by the way. What's confused? He's we following fine. He is confused. No, it was. I don't think that he was confused. I think he was just trying to wriggle his way out of the conversation. From Danomite Poop with the $5, Blitz demonstrating his superhuman ability of being patient. Look, I try. I absolutely try. From Gretchen with the $5, no has been a circular journey. He's hopeless, but I feel like even other flirfs are going to see this and think, wow, this guy's a total idiot. I hope that they will, but I don't know if they will have the patience to sit through an hour and 45 minutes of it. From Binary Ghost with the $5, Rothschilds don't fake GPS data does. Soros does. Gosh, it's like you don't know any. You're right. It was George Soros the whole time. From Galur, again with the 400 Indian rupees, guy talks of attenuation, skin depth, confirmation bias, other scientific terms from physics and Kahnemanian wisdom. Obviously, he is an oblate spheroid earther, sharpening his debate skills as well, giving you opportunity to something. Obviously a plant. No flat earther can be that hard-headed. From Jack Fetter with the $2, must stop losing will to live. I'm sorry. Keep your will to live. It's good for you. From Just Rick with the $5, new game, clip 2 random 60-second blocks of that discussion and find the differences. Oh yeah, no, that would be a fun game. Jessica with the $5 Australian. Thank you so much, Jessica. That conversation was 2 hours of the Patrick that's on my wallet over and over again. Oh my god, I'm definitely gonna put that meme in the video. Thanks for the idea, Jessica. That's hilarious. That's not my wallet, but that's you in the wallet. Yeah. And this is your ID. Yeah. So this is your wallet. That's not my wallet. It's so funny. From Spammy Elson with the $12.34. That was godlike patience, not godlike. Just teacher-like. From Evil Ducks with the $2, but rocks assume a geodetic globe. Yeah, you can't use rocks. Rocks assume that the globe is real. Yeah, by the way, there is a FLERF bingo. You should have been playing FLERF bingo this whole time. It's on the Discord channel. From Hehe BF 5KF with the £2. Thank you. Thank you, Hehe. I think that there's only a few more. I don't know. From Magic Rectangle Ent with the $2, educated populations don't like wealth disparity. Oh, yeah, true. That's a good point. From the Moon King with the $5, bro-in-law is a FLERF. You've helped me deal with that so much, LOL. Keep up the good work. Yeah, if you know any flat earthers, learning all of these, talking points is not a bad idea. From XXMLG with the $10, is it true that if you drop a ball at that moment, the air above the ball is slightly less dense than the air below it? I heard that somewhere. Yeah. So, well, it's just generally true that like the air below something is always more dense than the air above it. That's just always true. That's why buoyancy works. That's why buoyancy creates a vertical force upward. From Hehe BF again with the £1. Thank you. From Squeaky Eyes with the 5 Canuck bucks, truly believe he didn't understand the contradiction you dragged him through. Not surprised. I don't know. Do you think that he didn't understand it, y'all? From Hehe again with the £2. How detector measure up if Earth concave? Not FLERF. How detector measure up if Earth concave? Yeah, I can just show you the diagram. So the reason why it's let me pull it up. I have it somewhere. I know it's like plot 10, figure 10 or something. I showed this earlier, but I'll just show it again. I am not AFK. Quit it. Wait a minute. Section 3.3. I'm sorry, not. Where is I should just put the page number, honestly. 3.4. Okay, yeah, here's the relevant thing. So the idea is that because the Earth is a sphere, down, see how like viewed from the perspective of somebody at Fermilab, this is the vertical. And so in this case, it would be angled down into the ground. And then here, they're detecting it coming up from below ground at an angle in Sudan. That's how that works. From Earth is Life with the $5, start asking them what Earth curvature would look like from a beach. This is one of my favorite questions to ask flat earthers. Oh, usually they don't, usually they just don't know, or they'll say, oh, well, it would look like a curve. From Cat's Meow with the £2, what's your favorite animal? I like the platypus. From @_ with the €2, next time bring up birds aren't real conspiracists. That would be funny. From a Clyde Frog with the 5 Canuck bucks, should have shoved that first diagram in his face at the end for your mic drop. By the way, what material is used to detect the beam? That you'd have to ask a particle physicist. It will be, like, you can find it in the TDR, in the technical, whatever it's called, the technical report, technical design report. I just don't know offhand. From Sonus Percussion, sorry that you just got here, but thank you for the 420 Argentinian pesos, I think. Just got here. I imagine you were on the end of the live by now. Greetings from Argentina, big fan. Yeah, but you can go back and rewatch it. It's on YouTube. And from Frigid Point with the 179 THB, I don't know what that is. Those are Thai bots. Thank you so much. Flat Earth logic is basically just setting your life's render distance to tiny and blaming the devs for the fog. Yeah, right? All right, so that is all the super chats we have today. Apologies that we didn't. Oh, I actually have some cash apps too that I need to acknowledge. One cash app from Mike Quizar with the $5 for I keep measuring down. Still disappointed. I'm sorry that you're still disappointed. Right, so that's all we got. I know that we didn't have a whole lot of conversations, and I know the last one was like almost 2 hours, but I'm not just gonna let that one go. He couldn't get it. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna end the live here. You will see me tomorrow for Ask a Physicist. Thank you guys so much for being here, and if you want access to my debate notes, which have links to all this neutrino stuff, for example, if you want access to those, consider becoming a member on YouTube, on either YouTube channel, either the Blitz PhD YouTube channel or the Dr. Blitz Debunks YouTube channel. Either one, it's like $4 or $5 a month. And you get access to my debate notes, which have all of those sources like the neutrino stuff in there. And you also get access to emojis, so that's cool too. Anyway, consider that. Consider joining the Discord server, and I will see you guys tomorrow.